I've been angry for almost 50 years. I'm only starting to now realize that this is not really who I am.
Motherfuckers ready!
Here's this wild story with lots of violence and creativity and confusion and chaos.
His stories will kill your lawn and peel the paint off your car. He's seen a whole lot of life, and he's lucky to have come through the other side.
I was wired for chaos before I knew anything.
Like they just dropped us in the middle of hell and expected us to kind of just raise ourselves.
We're getting ready to leave. Our drummer, Blitz, can't find him anywhere. Harley, guess what? You're the drummer. Everybody had to see the kid. They were in love with him.
I said, who the fuck is this little kid up there on the drums?
How have the laws of the universe changed that allow this kid to move in a grown-up world?
Probably by 13, he had seen a whole lot of stuff that maybe someone of that age can do without.
I enjoyed a fight, but I wasn't into just like extreme violence for the sake of it. These guys were. And that pushed me to the dark place. That's when I was just like, you will fucking fear me.
Do you think I'm gonna go by myself and attack a fucking room full of people? No, this ain't a fucking really. Jackie fucking Chan movie.
You're gonna end up in jail. You're gonna end up dead.
Lean over. Yes, just like this.
He's trying to process this completely chaotic life filled with mayhem and violence and abuse.
We were all together on a life raft, doing our best to keep life as sane as we could for his kids.
Show your love for the people that matter to you. You do that by not giving up. No matter what the fuck life is.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Deceptive fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
Damn straight. What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. You bought the ticket? Take the ride. Here we go. Big one today. I'm excited. I hope that you are too. You know, I was thinking about today's show and just want to say, you know, through the years, a lot of people have been on the show and our guests get treated with respect. And that's part of the reason that we land so many great guests that don't go on other shows. And today will be the same thing. Our show demands respect and he will get respect. And I will have no patience for any bullshit in the chat room today. So if you're thinking of being disruptive or disrespectful in any way, you're out. That's what's up. Just not going to have it, man. I appreciate everybody that comes on this show, and I know that you do too. We're going to have a great show today. This is many years in the making. So that said, everybody okay? Word. Yeah. Listen, you know, not going to have it. Don't get on my bad side. You know, yo from Poland. What's happening in Poland? What's happening in Belgium? Come on now. Yeah. Hey, Susan. Good. Spiky, what's up? Good, good. The gang's all here. Yep. Yeah. Adam Sachs is excited for this one. Speaking of excited for this one, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the hardcore shutterbug, Stephen Messina. Where are you?
I don't know.
How odd.
Maybe
it's not letting you come on.
Hey,
Sorry.
there you go.
There you are.
What's happening?
How weird.
Weird
Ghosts in the machine.
This is I actually am very excited for this one. This is a long time coming, you know.
What did you redecorate your room?
No, I'm in my friend's house. We're having our annual Christmas gift exchange today, and coincidentally, my friend is obsessed with Frank Zappa, who is right behind me here, and Rush. And today is actually Frank Zappa's birthday.
Yo, it's no secret. I'm a big Zappa fan, so
I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, man. Zappa on the crapper.
That.
You know. Did you see? You sent me pictures. You saw our recent guest and friend John Bush last night here in New York City.
Yeah.
And wasn't he doing did he do a whole Anthrax set? Is that what he did?
Oh, it was fantastic. He is currently celebrating the 4 albums he did with Anthrax, and along with his new band Category 7. And he played Racket. They crushed the place. And in fact, he opened for himself because his band Category 7 did like a short opening set, and the same band remained on, did all the Anthrax stuff. In fact, you'll notice a bunch of our guests here. Of course, Phil Demo on guitar and Jason Bittner on drums. In fact, even our Sworn Enemy friends were there teching that last night. It was this guy's energy, his voice sounds good.
If we played Brooklyn last, I benefit for Jimmy Williams, and
yes,
I'd like to have gone to that show, but
it was fantastic. I mean, this guy's voice sound. I don't know what he does to maintain, but he has this killer band, and he just brings all those songs back. Like he was my favorite voice in that band, and.
Did he do any Armored Saint stuff?
No. He did Category 7, and then he did all Anthrax. He did, and it really was...
If only...
Oh, that was the last song. They closed with that, of course. That was a big... that was the big one.
Yeah. Well, we love these guys. How many guys in this band have been on the show? John Bush, Phil Demo, Jason Bittner. You know what? We have to get Joey Vera on the show.
Yeah. This was a nice surprise because Joey's not in Category 7, but the bass player couldn't do it, so he stepped in. So you did get 2 parts of Armored Saint there. So
yeah, right on.
But they crushed it. It was
I would like to have seen that for 15 minutes, which is about how long I could watch any band.
I think you would have stayed longer. I think you would have stayed longer. Maybe 20.
20's big for me.
I know. Yeah. This is awesome. You know what?
Dude, I can't even sit through my own band for fucking more than 15 minutes. I'm like, Jesus,
What if they told you we want you to play an hour and 20 minutes? Could you do it?
Well, my war played for an hour and 5 minutes.
Well, that's different for you, though. You're on the guitar as well,
Yeah, I'm not singing the whole thing. It's hard. It's hard when you're singing. It takes a lot out of you,
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. That said.
Your show was good last night. I saw some footage of the All-Star Jam.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was good to see. Good to see
Craig. Well, it was, it was great. Yeah. It was good. All right. Well,
let's do this.
Let's do this like you knew this. We will have fun over there at your friend's house, and stick around. We'll see you later.
You got it.
All right. That's it. You asked for it, you got it. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Women of the Pit, She Devil's Coven, Minty Fresh Productions, and the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. That said, let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guests on. Let's go on a great adventure together. Let's make sure nobody's killing each other in the chat room. Everybody seems okay. All right. Good. So far you're behaving yourselves. I appreciate it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Today's guest is an American musician and one of the founding fathers of what has come to be known as New York hardcore. As a matter of fact, going off script, this motherfucker's on the Mount Rushmore of New York hardcore. A career musician, he's primarily known for his work as the drummer of the Stimulators and as the bassist and vocalist of the hardcore punk band, the Cro-Mags. Here today to talk to us about the Blu-ray DVD release of his autobiographical documentary, Wired for Chaos, along with the producer of the film. Please welcome Harley and Laura Flanagan. Hey.
Hello.
How are you, dude?
Hello.
Hello.
What's happening?
You're really worried about people talking shit in that chat room, man. Is that just like specifically for me, or are you always?
It's not specifically for you, but you know, I'm not in the mood, man. I'm not in the fucking mood.
Apparently not. So behave. You don't want to get on Dream.
Don't make me turn this car around. You know. Hey, you know something? You know, all this talk. You know, Wired for Chaos, Stimulators, Cro-Mags. All that's fine and dandy, but you know what? What's up with Grandma Eugenia's eggplant parmesan?
Thank you.
That's right, Harley. You know what? All that's cool. But man.
What the fuck's up? You gotta eat.
Man, let me tell you something. If you're like into food, that eggplant, well, how can you not be into food? You gotta live, right? You gotta eat. But that eggplant,
it's crazy.
It's like organic.
No, I like what Drew said. It's sublime. It is. It's sublime.
Yo, all this other stuff's real fine and dandy, but you know, the other night you were kind enough to invite us over for dinner, and it was fantastic. and thank you so much. It was great. And am I pronouncing it right? Is it Grandma Eugenia?
So Eugenia.
Eugenia.
Yeah. Yep.
It was great.
We had
and we'll get to this. Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank
you. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I want more, you know.
You'll have more. You'll have more.
I eat well.
You do?
Yes.
you know, I'm just, we're going to take the horse. We're going to ride the horse where it goes, Harley.
Wait,
and I was thinking about Laura and the cookbook, and I was thinking about your health and the shape you're in. And I know you mentioned about diet. Is diet a big part of you? Like, tell us about that.
Well, I mean, dude, you've known me forever, right? And how long have I been vegetarian? Like probably almost as long as you've known me. I mean, but you know, exercise. I exercise like religiously, man. You know, but really, what you put into your body is key. You know, you that's how you nourish yourself. That's what you're made out of. You know? So, for those of you who are interested in how I stay healthy, I mean, I'm almost fucking 60. You know, I'm getting up there. I'm 58. You know, and I'm still lean, still in good shape, still strong. But it's a combination of things: exercise, diet, and my wife put out an amazing cookbook called Hardcore Vegetarian. And, she's pescatarian, she'll tell you, but, she had to learn how to adapt to what I ate as well, and started exploring all these new things. I guess this was during COVID. You really started getting...
I started writing it down, but then, I call myself like a lazy vegetarian because I didn't want to cook 2 meals. So I'm like, I better do this right, so I don't have to make something else for myself. But yeah, I started writing it all down during COVID because I was just cooking more, like most people,
Yeah, it's a great cookbook out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
It really is great, and thank you for signing a copy for me.
And just to be fair, it's also not really like pushy or militant about vegetarianism.
Oh God, no.
It's just about food and good recipes and stuff, and just encouraging people to try other things. A lot of people who eat meat have a hard time finding other stuff to put on their plate that they'll even like. So these are options for people who just want to try to add more vegetarian things to their diet.
And like when I start, there's a lot of modifications of recipes that once upon a time had meat, because I was not a vegetarian before or a pescatarian before I met Harley. So there were recipes that had, meat as the focus or the center of it, and I've changed them. And you can change them too, and they're just as good.
Makes sense. Let's talk about this, and let's I know we did this dance fairly recently, and we're gonna do it again. So Harley, like, why now for the film? Why Wired for Chaos? How did it come to fruition? Why now?
Okay, well, as we discussed recently, but for all of those who were not there, who were not privy to this discussion, it all kind of happened because of the book that I wrote. Because I started writing a book. I got Laura involved as editor, and this was actually before we were, dating each other or seeing each other or anything. And it's actually how we started getting to know each other, was because it was such a long process, and we just spent so much time together. And but anyway, she is the one who saw the book as something that she thought could be a film and should be a film. And initially, I believe she, her idea was that it should be like, actors playing the parts, and she just thought it was very cinematic and so on and so forth. And then, this was obviously not anything I had ever thought about before, and still, I would have never pursued it if not for, basically, I actually didn't pursue it. She pursued it. And that's how this film came about. I wrote the book because, as me and you were talking about earlier, I felt the need to tell my story in case, God forbid, something would have happened and, some kind of untimely death. And then my actual story would never have been told. And I knew that somebody would tell it, whether it was like some journalist or, maybe somebody who knew me a little bit, or maybe a band member or something. And I knew it wasn't going to be right. And, I knew it wasn't going to be accurate. I knew it was, somebody was going to try to make a buck off my demise. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to tell my story myself. And I think when we gave that copy, the unfinished, to Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
How many chapters? I think we gave him like 7 or 8 chapters initially.
He read the whole thing, Harley. He read the whole thing prior to us turning it into the press.
Yeah. Okay, because I know I had initially gave him a few chapters, and then we gave him the whole thing, right? And he basically told me, like, don't pull any punches, because I had a conversation with him about it. I said, I told him there's a lot of things in here that are pretty heavy, or a lot of things that I wanted to write about, but I didn't, because I didn't want to I didn't want my kids to see this or that or blah, 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 blah. You know, I didn't want my family to such and such, and da, da, da. And he was like, you know what? Don't pull any punches. Just throw it all out there because, you know, all that shit is already out there. And if they want to find out, or even if they don't want to find out, they're going to find out. So, you know, it's better that you speak your piece. And so I just went all in. I went all in. And she edited that, and that became, you know.
The other thing that Bourdain said is that when it does become a movie, in his words, whoever is going to play your mother is going to get an Academy Award.
Aw.
Those were his words. Because her part is so crazy.
So Laura, you saw it as like a film. How do you call that? Like a dramatic,
like a biopic. Yeah, like biopic. not a documentary, just like a story
with actors.
About his life. Exactly. Just like I thought his life was fascinating and would be a terrific, film. Terrific story for a film.
Yeah. Hey, Harley, in a perfect world, who plays Harley Flanagan in a
This is challenging.
Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think anybody else could pull it off.
He could pull it off.
I thought he was going to say like Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
Yeah, right. Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, he's a great actor, man. Laura, so you were involved as the producer on the project from ground level, correct?
Yeah. So when it started, there were actually 3 producers for this film. Rex, who is the director, was also a producer, as was Elizabeth Haviland James, who's the lead editor on the film. And so the 3 of us are. But I was a producer in more than name alone, because obviously I have access to Harley's archive and have organized it quite a bit since working on the book. So there was that. And then, just being able to coordinate some of the interviews. And these are so many of the people, well, almost all the people are people that Harley knows and has access to, that Rex wouldn't have had, or another producer wouldn't have had as simple access to as I did.
I also didn't know who a lot of these people were. Because
exactly.
Come from a world of hardcore music or anything. So you had no idea who, Glenn Danzig or Daryl. I mean, he may have a vague idea. I mean, to be fair, he was at that same Clash show that I was at, that photo was taken where I'm backstage with Strummer and Warhol and all those people. That was one of the things that got him intrigued, by me when he Googled me. He was like, I was at that show. Yeah. And then he started like checking out my backstory. He's this guy.
So he's a little bit older than us, huh?
Yeah, he's a little older. Yeah. And, it's like, I guess I was 12 at that show. And, he was probably like 16 or something.
He was in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just read off for those. First off, somebody was asking about the film, and this is going to come out. I'm just going to address this now. I'm going to address this a couple times in the film. When will the film be out? The film is actually out. It can be purchased. There's the if you want to scan it and buy the DVD, which is really awesome. But it is available. Watch it now. It's at www.wiredforchaos.com. That's the best place if you want to buy it or see it. Just go there and you can see it. And as many of you know, I am somewhat of a documentary filmmaker. I've done a bunch of documentaries. I have, I think, 4 or 5 films on Amazon right now. And I will say this with a straight face: it is a good film. And I don't say that about everything. I do not. And it is good. It's enjoyable. I enjoyed it very much. And I just want to say, you mentioned people that were in the film, and just for some background, some of the guests, people that are interviewed in the film: Flea, Daryl Jennifer, Harley's Aunt Denise, Ian Mackay, Ice-T, Glenn Danzig, Henry Rollins, Sasha Jenkins, our friend, rest in peace. Keith Morris, Roger Moret from Agnostic Front, Steve Zing, Kate from the Beastie Boys, Bourdain, Nick Martin, Glenn Friedman, Brooke Smith, Ray Capo, Scott Ian, Joe Nelson, Renzo Gracie, so on and so forth. I mean,
don't forget Jocko Willink.
Jocko Willink.
Right. There you go, Jocko Willink. What were some of the biggest challenges, Laura, of like getting it over the finish line?
Well, the biggest challenge I think in independent filmmaking is always funding. So you're always, if you don't have an enormous studio behind you, you're always worrying about how you're going to finish. And we were funded early on, which was wonderful. And
was that a Kickstart? Was that a Kickstarter campaign?
No, it was independent funding. No.
Did you stand on the corner and shake a cup?
No. Just kidding. But Rex, the director, has been an independent filmmaker for many years. So he has his network of the people that he's worked with in the past and who know his work and etc. But so then it was really just about the archive. I mean, 600 independent archival assets. We had an archival producer who was incredible, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of contact and getting people in places. And then there was an incredible graphics team and score by David Meislin. There were a lot of pieces to it, and it just took a while. And then we weren't quite finished when we were accepted to Doc NYC to premiere the film.
Is that right?
It wasn't quite done yet. So there was like a race. There was a race.
Yo, I think you just sold a fuckload of books. Everyone's saying I just ordered Laura's book for the holidays.
Oh, thank you.
So Harley, if nothing else, Harley, Laura sold a couple of the cookbooks.
What do you mean, man? So it's always good talking to you, and it's a pleasure talking to all the listeners and all your followers out there. Hopefully they'll want to check out the film. And Len, I just have to add two things here. One, please. Drew is one of the most critical humans I know. So if he said this film is good, what that really means is it's fucking great. Because if he could find any faults with it, he'd be like, that shit was whack.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Like I when it comes to films and bands, I'm like,
yeah, and not only that, but you've been around for such a long time. I mean, I've known you since the early '80s. I mean, you've seen so many changes in music, and you've seen so many changes in my life as I have in yours. So for you to, and not only that, but you're a film guy, and you know how much work goes into this shit.
I do,
bro. Let me tell you, for the people out there who don't know. For the people out there who dabble in music and the people who are in bands and shit, making an independent film is so much harder. It's so fucking crazy. There's so many moving parts. Doing music, it's just you and your friends getting together making songs. It doesn't get complicated till later, when you start making money and shit.
Yeah,
but
right.
Which is
I've never been involved.
Fans, I want to start working.
I was just saying I'd never been involved with making a film before, so I was a complete novice. And it was incredible. It was an incredible process, incredible learning curve. And I just, I guess whatever skills I have in my alternate universe life, I was just able to use them to make this, help make it happen.
You're a good producer. You have great. Coming into it, you have very good organizational skills, and that translates into being a good producer. It really, I mean, it does. It also helps if you're like psychotic and OCD.
Thank you. Helps. That would be the most part, the bigger part, but. I think
also she knew my story better than anybody because she had she took my book, which I handed her probably 1,000 pages. She got all the grim
I knew the timeline and I knew the archive, but I think more than that, it's like I'm not really that organized. What I am is really tenacious, and I'm really accountable. So if I start something, I like to get it done.
Hey, I know I'm bouncing around here, but Harley talking about how far we go back. Here's a shot, an old A7 shot. And if you look on the right, you see me and Harley. There's someone in between us, but me and Harley playing the wall at the A7. I'm on the right there. Harley's standing up. Harley's as one guy. Me and Harley playing the wall back in 1982 with our backs against the wall at the A7. So
that's great.
That's funny because I've seen that picture before, but I never realized I was in the corner over there.
Yeah,
right. That happens a lot, bro.
Yeah. Was that the same show where me and Eric had Cro-Mags written on our foreheads? Sitting
yes.
On the stage?
Yes.
Control? Yeah.
Dude,
go way back, man. You know.
Yeah.
And
so,
you know,
got to put your back against the wall at the A7. You know, it's the only place you were safe. You know, like from getting blindsided. You know,
that club was like the size of my living room right here. You know, not even.
It was crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah. So we'll get to that eventually. But you know, one thing that I mentioned when we did our thing, and we're going to have the director Rex Miller's going to show up in a little bit, but I want to mention, I think this is really poignant, is that when I go into films, I don't like to know everything. I like there to be a sense of discovery as I'm making the film. And I get a sense that Rex, by not knowing the whole story here, kind of came in fresh, and there was a sense of discovery. Is that fair to say, Harley?
Absolutely. And it's funny because there were times during the film when he would ask me questions that I felt were like, dude, didn't you read the fucking book? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, why don't you read the fucking book, man? Like, you know, I got to read, you know, I got to tell you all this shit. And, you know, but then at the end of it all, I understood because he was like, you know what? I didn't want to hear your story from your book because that's your version of your story.
Yeah,
that's already been edited and this, that. He wanted to learn it. Bro, he had like over 120 or 30 fucking hours worth of interviews. So he was pretty much learning my story through all of these other people's experiences of me and dealing with me. And then he interviewed me about 4 or 5 times. And from those interviews, and from going through all the archives and all the clippings and the footage that exists and so on and so forth, that's how we put together this story. And, you know, again, Laura was able to correct little mistakes that they made along the way as far as timeline and who's this person and that person. And kind of, you know, she didn't like direct the way the film was being shaped. She just was, she helped in the accuracy department.
Yeah.
I
mean, there were times when pictures would pop up from different.
You were a producer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, because you know, people got to understand.
Welcome to the film business.
Exactly.
But check it out. For those of you who don't know, I told you already. I didn't see this fucking thing till it was done. So. You know, because it was going to be in a film festival called Doc NYC, and in order for it to qualify as an actual documentary, the subject was not allowed to be involved with the making of the film, because then it's not really an actual documentary. It's more of a, you know, an infomercial for lack of a better way.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Or the funding of the film. And I think it's more for awards. It's more for awards.
Yeah. Like, so we weren't allowed to help fund it, and I wasn't allowed to help direct it, produce it, whatever. I wasn't allowed to. Yeah. So
I did not know this.
Yeah, that's what Rex told us when we got involved originally. He was like, "Yeah, you can't, you know." And I had to sign something as a producer because I'm his wife, saying that I'm not going to interfere with the narrative and the storyline or anything like that. Because
in order for it to be eligible for awards,
yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Talk to Rex about it. It's very interesting. Yeah. Because if you are, then like you said, it's sort of an infomercial.
Glee 6 Madness says, yup, complete third-person perspective. History, discipline.
Well, you know what? It also gave it like the authenticity of, you know, this is because look, man, everybody sees their own life from their own eyes.
Sure.
You know, for better or for worse, you're not necessarily experiencing your own bullshit. You know, you are, but you don't realize how it's affecting other people. So to get other people's takes on how you interacted with them throughout time, more so than just, this is my book, this is how it happened.
Yeah. You know what that's called? When like the person's involved with their documentary, you know what that's called in Hollywood?
No.
A Valentine. No, that's what it's called. No, that's what it's called. Like, just like I just watched this Rolling Stones piece that was sort of like executive produced by the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
It's a fucking Valentine.
Yes.
It's like basically it's like there was nothing in there. It was like he's so great, he's so great, he's so great, he's so great. And it's like, what the fuck am I watching?
I think we saw one like that recently when we started working on this. I think it was the Oasis one. I was like, what is this? I was like, are they selling albums right now? Because
hey, you know what, man? This whole film for me was a really cathartic experience because, like, as you know more than anybody, I've taken some
puff piece.
I've taken some tough turns in my life, and I never had an easy experience from Jump Street. And in those old days on the Lower East Side, I did a lot of things that are definitely regrettable. And I've made a shit ton of mistakes in my personal life and my career and everything. And I wasn't afraid or ashamed to, you know, be truthful about that shit. You know, I think it's important to, you know, you have to recognize your faults and where you fucked up in order to grow, in order to become a better person. I wound up having to talk about things and deal with things that I had never really dealt with in my life before, things that were still kind of baggage to me. And, you know, going into this film, like, okay, for those of you who don't know, and I didn't really know until not that long ago, so you're not that far behind me. I got PTSD and I wasn't even aware of it, you know, because, you know, people from my generation, you know, men from my generation don't typically think that PTSD is something that a civilian can have or should have, or that's, you know, I always thought that's something that like combat veterans have PTSD. You know, they've been through real shit. You know, I've just been through regular shit and da 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 da. But you know, fact is I have not been through regular shit. And Jocko was actually the guy who's in the film, Jocko Willing, who's a Navy SEAL. He was the person who kind of started to point that out to me. That he felt that, like, yeah, you know, you've got he's like, he was quick to say, you know, I'm not a expert. I'm not a professional in this field, but I have a little bit of experience with this. And I believe that you, without a doubt, I believe you have PTSD. And that made me start really, really thinking about it, you know, and prior to that, I had a few friends, combat veterans, friends of mine who I trained with in jiu-jitsu, other black belt brothers, friends of mine, that I'd been talking about a lot of trauma shit that had happened in my life. And they were always just like, you know, dude, like, you should really talk to somebody, you know, blah, 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 blah. So long story short, I'm getting to this in a long way here. I started talking to a therapist when we started, right around the time we started working on the film, because I knew I was going to be confronting a lot of things that had happened to me in my life that were going to be really hard to talk about. We're probably going to bring up a lot of things that were going to be unpleasant and so on and so forth. And Rex, the director, he told me the first time I went to get interviewed from him, I'll tell you, I went in there kind of pissed. Like, I just kind of felt like, I want to talk to this motherfucker, you know, like, you don't understand my life, and you'll never fucking get it. But I don't feel like, you know, like you can. Like, I almost felt like annoyed to even try to open up to him. Like, fuck you. But then after seeing my therapist a few times, I went in and I just started talking. And going through this process of this film, I realized that that's really one of the only ways that you actually can get through trauma and shit like that, is by actually facing it and dealing with it and working your way through it. Otherwise, it's baggage that's always going to dictate your behavior. And, you know, you may not even realize it, you know.
Like we said, the only way out is through, right?
Yeah.
And the only way out is through. And Laura, and I quote Laura from the film, he's working out the absence of his own childhood. You say that in the film, and I thought that was I thought that made a lot of sense. It was very poignant.
I think when you live with an adult who has basically childhood PTSD and has children of their own, you see patterns, behavior towards children, towards childhood, and that absence like sort of reveals itself, or the longing to reclaim it or to have it or to, you know what I mean? So you see it over time, and then so by the time the film was in process, it was quite clear.
Yep. I want to shout out our friend Brooke Smith, who's great in the film. It's always happy to see your face show up on the screen, Brooke, no matter what it is. Whether you're killing somebody or being a victim or you're in Harley's film, always happy to see you on the screen.
We miss you. We gotta have dinner again.
Yes, come back to New York.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
But anyway, you know, also just another side note too. I had also had back surgery and all this shit, like back surgery, elbow, wrist, not that long before prior to the film being shot. So I was like going through physical therapy. I was going through mental therapy. You know, so this whole film, you know, like you'll see at the beginning of the film, I'm like, I look a little skinnier. By the end of it, I'm looking a little bigger because it was like a few-year process, and I hadn't exercised or done anything for like a few months after the back surgery. I had 8 screws put in my neck and all this other shit. So it was like
did you have an operation on your right wrist?
Well, I had my left wrist, my left elbow, and 8 screws in my neck. The neck is what really fucked me up. That's the one that like. I showed you that picture.
I saw this today, and I saw this and
that was a fight on St. Mark's Place.
There you go. Right. I was thinking maybe there's a tie-in here, right?
No, that was. I actually posted. I told a little bit about that story on my Instagram today or yesterday. What happened was I got in a fight on. By the old St. Mark's Bar and Grill, where the Rolling Stones shot that video.
Waiting on a friend. Yep.
Waiting on a friend. Yeah. And this like drunk, like it was a weekend, Lower East Side back in the day. The streets were full of people, everything. Anyway, I get into a thing with this dude because he was harassing this chick. Blah blah blah, whatever. He pulls a knife on me, so I wound up feeding him a bottle, and. There was bottles everywhere, so I wound up feeding him like 3 or 4 bottles. I just kept picking up bottles and smashing them in his face. I stuffed one in his mouth, and basically that's. So I was like, my hand was squirting. His face looked like it was like some kind. It was and then we played Remorse the following weekend, and I thought the show wasn't going to happen because I didn't know if I'd be able to play. It was, yeah.
The good old days.
Wait, hold on. Boom. Lemorse, ladies and gentlemen. Lemorse, the rock capital of Brooklyn. There you go.
Laura was at one of those shows at Lemorse. I think it was us and might have been Carnivore and Whiplash. I think we came to that conclusion.
There were some other bands that were very were not appealing to me.
She wasn't into the long-haired metal thing at that point.
No.
I know we're bouncing around, but I must say that those Lemore Best Wishes shows were fucking great, man. Those were good shows. Those were great. The Best Wishes lineup, Lemore, and when you guys were doing that for a while, that was killer.
Shout out Pete Hines, who we just been
shout out Pete Hines. But we'll circle back to that in a bit.
Yeah,
You know what?
I just want to add real quick. We were just talking the other day about Remorse, and I made the comparison with the bouncers to the Remorse bouncers compared to the old Max's Kansas City bouncers. I was like, they were cut out of the same fucking mold. Like, it was just like these big fucking Guidos who just wanted to kick some punk rock ass. And then at the Remorse, some heavy.
It's like they called into the same, like we what's that in the film was, we got to call down to the hall for some extras. You know, that's right. We got to call to the hall. Could you send over a couple bouncers? It's the same pool.
Central casting.
Hey, we need some real dim-witted, violent thugs. It's a real specialty job. Where's it? Lemorse. Lemore, we got you.
We got you.
That was them. Yes. But some of those guys are cool. A couple of them.
Yeah. 100%. One thing I mentioned, and I want to let everybody know that one of the great things about the DVD release of Wired for Chaos, hold on, here is the don't sleep on it. Makes a great holiday gift. Wired for Chaos. There it is, right up there. But one of the great things is the DVD extras, and I have to say, and I have in my notes. Henry Rollins, the best 4-minute explanation of what hardcore is that I ever heard.
Ever. Mic drop.
I have not seen the extras because we don't have a DVD player. So
I know.
Who actually has a DVD player anymore? I guess the people who have PlayStation have them. So
I have a DVD player, a VHS player. I got all that. But that's just because of what I do, right? It's like,
well, make sure that everybody sees where they can watch this thing, because you can stream it. It's not, you don't just have to have a DVD player for those who are not, still watching.
There it is. www.wiredforchaos.com. You could stream it there. You can buy the DVD there. Get up, get down, make it happen. What? And as we've talked about all this, and then the director's probably gonna pop on, and we'll have to circle back. But should I wait till he comes on to ask, like, what's next for the film? Maybe we should wait.
I don't think he knows better than I do.
Okay,
he'll probably wonder the same thing.
Like, what's next for the film?
What is next for the film?
Hey, Mean Mug Music 607 says, I still collect DVDs.
Excellent.
There you go.
See? There is hope.
Gotta get it.
There is hope yet, you know?
People like tangible things.
Oh, yeah. You know what? This is good. Thank you, RS. I got to shout RS, who's been a huge supporter of the show, graffiti historian. Where did the name Wired for Chaos, where did that come from?
It's funny because they were thinking about different titles at that point, and then they were watching an edit, and there's a part in the film where I say something along the lines of, I was wired for chaos before I was born, or
something like that.
Or I was wired for chaos before I knew anything.
Right.
Something along those lines. And they were like, that's it.
That's it.
Wired for chaos.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because basically, I mean, if you know the story, or if you see the story, and I could tell this without giving too much away, I mean, things were crazy, crazy around me from before I actually popped out of my mom. Like, I was like, the noise I was hearing, the things I was witness to from even just when I was protected by that little layer of skin going back that far, there was already, drugs going into her, beatings happening to her. And when I was a baby, I was already living in like drug environments. The only times I wasn't surrounded by like crazy fucked up shit like that was when I was living with my grandparents, and and that was wild too. I mean, we had like 4 or 5 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment there. So like my life, and that was the safe place, that was where life was good. So like, it's from Jump Street and like just going to clubs and stuff my whole life. like literally, there's not a point in my life, and I'm not the only person who's had a life where it was like, okay, you've been living in a state of total fucking craziness since birth. There's a lot of people, maybe not my life, but their own versions of being wired for chaos. So, like, you know, I don't think, you know, in that sense, my story is not unique. My story is unique probably because of the people I was in contact with, the music, my, you know, so on and so forth. But like, so
yeah,
the being wired for chaos is kind of explains a lot of my behavior throughout the course of my life. I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but I'm like, you know, this film was really cathartic for me, and just the therapy and everything else. Like, I don't see how I could have not been anything but a total fuck up. And just the fact that I'm somehow, you know, that I landed on my feet, you know, maybe, you know, I broke a few bones in the process, but like, you know, I mean, and trust me, I'm damaged as fuck, but I landed on my feet, and I landed around amazing people. I have an amazing wife, you know. As anybody who knows, who struggled with drugs and child abuse and all of that other wonderful shit, you know, it leaves a permanent mark.
Yeah.
And I'm still working my way through it. And, you know, I copped this shit in this film, you know, and hopefully the people who thought I was just an asshole for no reason will understand that now.
Laura, you mentioned in the film, and I think it's like a takeaway in the film, and my perception is sort of Harley grew up in this sort of atmosphere, and where the parents sort of like had an attitude with the kids of like, let them be, they will find their own way. Could you sort of give the audience a little bit of a perspective on who maybe they haven't seen the film, of like what that environment for him was growing up?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's hearsay for me, so I've heard, you know, I've heard.
But your perspective was very, very,
well,
very
my perspective, I think, is the adult perspective, which is children. It's pretty clear need stability. They need environments that are safe, and adults that are accountable. And he had none of that. You know, as he said, he had his grandparents, but that was sporadic. He was hitchhiking with a very young mother, who was going from boyfriend to boyfriend, and this situation to that, both in the United States and also in Denmark. And her opinion was
all over Europe. I mean,
yeah, England, everywhere, Spain, and then to Morocco. And her opinion was, we get in the way of children. They can do it themselves. They're intuitive. And to me, it's like child abuse. And I say that having known Rose, his mother, and having cared for her, and having realized that she too was very young when she experienced what she experienced. And that's a whole other story that I think is fascinating, her own experience. But because of that, she chose to make the decisions about his life that were really, I think, negligent. I'm beyond negligent.
Yeah.
Look, I just got to throw in there, and this is all really hard for me to talk about. So, that generation, that 60s shit, you know, people were doing a lot of drugs, and they had they're coming from a time where they felt like they had been oppressed culturally and this and that, and, you know, the sexual revolution, they were all trying to change everything, and the, you know, civil rights, all these heavy changes, all these things were going on, and then you throw the drugs and everything else into the mix, and the fact that a lot of these people were pretty young.
So young.
And let's just face it, young people are fucking pretty stupid, no matter how fucking smart we like to think we are when we are young, you know. And you start thinking you're coming to all these amazing answers and conclusions about things. You throw a fucking boatload of LSD into that shit, and you're gonna start coming up with some really not great ideas about how things should be, you know, and it's like, so it goes from being like our parents, you know, brainwashed us and conditioned, you know, conditioned us this, that, or the other, or whatever the fuck, to kids know better on their own type of shit, you know, like let them figure it out. Their innocence is going to prevail. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? So like, so somehow that naive, kind, fucking drug-induced parenting skills is like, you know, we don't want to oppress their development. So, and you know what, in one way, you know, it's funny because people keep asking me about, like, you know, you were so creative when you were so young, this, that, the other, that. Fact is, I think all kids are creative when they're young. I know all kids draw, all kids are try to experiment with musical sounds and stuff. You know, I just happen to be in an environment that really nurtured that,
right?
More than you know, regular skills. You know, like academic skills and you know, job skills and shit like that. You know, it was more about creative and shit like that. So on one hand, where, you know, the let him figure it out on his own thing totally fucked me. In another way, it also gave me a certain open playing field to be creative and just pursue that.
Yeah.
But then there was no foundation around that, to no walls, no fucking walls.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, kids need
a little structure is good. A little structure is good for young people.
But also a little discipline, a little
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
a little,
and it works.
That.
Yeah, and it works both ways. I think it's like pendulum this way, and also parents that are like, what do they call them? Helicopter parents that just give the kids everything and never say no. That's another. That pendulum swings in another direction. That's extremely debilitating.
And most of those types of parenting are in response to the way that those parents have experienced their lives as well. That's why I said earlier, you know, Rose, you know, had her own experience of her childhood and was so young when she had him.
Yeah.
And let's also, you know, to be fair, because like the film, I don't want to say it like shits on my mom. It's just, you got to remember, she was young as fuck herself, man.
Yeah.
You know, and she was out there, you know, having sex with fucking grown ass fucking men, doing drugs and everything else, and running in circles that she shouldn't probably have been in. She was only, you know, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
When she was running around with Warhol and all these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, you know, you throw all these realities coming from an era where, you know, the whole change. She saw the birth of rock and roll and then the birth of the 60s. So imagine, like, to her, culture was changing at the fucking speed of light.
Yeah, things
you
were,
know?
things
Yeah, you went from being in an oppressed society where, you know, people had no racial equality, no female equality, you know, no nothing. And then all of a sudden people are like, and then all of a sudden you throw all these drugs and, you know, everything else into the mix. And
key word, drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, and also, you know, so anyway, God bless her. I mean, she
had a lot of.
Unfortunately, I was the fucking byproduct of that shit. And
she had a lot of remorse. She had a lot of remorse.
Really?
And, oh yeah.
In her later years, she had a lot of remorse.
In her later years.
That's sad.
Well, you know what's fucked up is she never showed me any of it.
Mm.
You know? Not till like,
people have complicated ways of dealing with their errors and their mistakes, and I'm not apologizing for anybody, but prior to her passing in 2015, we spent some very significant time with her, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. But she said some very profound things to me before she left this earth, and one of those things was she knew how hurt Harley was by these early years in his life. And she said, you know, we thought we were doing the right thing. We thought we were changing the world. We didn't, but we thought we were. It was, you know, it was like the intention was so genuine and so
sure
sad.
I think, I mean, that's just the way of the world in a lot of ways. It's easy to, in this current day, to sort of look back on the 60s or the 50s or the 20s or the Inquisition or the, you know, and go and put our morals and our our judgments in 2025 well into the 60s. Well, it was the fucking 60s. It was the fucking 60s,
right?
You know, and it was you can't put 2025 guidelines, morals into the 60s. You can't.
Or the fucking 70s or the 80s or anything for that matter. So, you know,
pretty much.
And
pretty much.
The flip side of that too is people like to, you know, they love nostalgia. And they always choose to remember the things that like are, you know, cool.
Romantic.
You know, when people think of the 60s, they think of great music. They think of all the, you know, cool stuff. They think of the civil rights movement. They think of, you know, drugs and sex and fun, but they don't think about, you know, venereal diseases and overdoses. You know, like they don't think about
excuse me. You mean like when people talk about the Lower East Side back in the day and all that shit? It's like, it was so great and this and that and da da da. It's like, really? Were you even fucking there?
Let me tell you fucking people something. That shit fucking sucked, bro.
Yeah, it was fucked.
And like for the people who used to come and visit it and leave, like most of the hardcore kids, it was probably cool. Because they could go and bug out and flip out, which they probably couldn't do where they lived. But for those of us who actually lived down there and went to school down there, my childhood was fucking rough down there. And people love the nostalgia. They love to fucking romanticize it. I remember laying there at night and hearing, you know, chicks getting raped somewhere on the block and not being able to do anything about it. I remember going to sleep listening to gunshots. I remember getting fucking beat up just for being the one white kid on the block. You know, and that was my routine. You know, and it was just like, you know, forget about being a punk rocker into the mix, because back then you couldn't walk around looking freaky. You know, people would take that shit for granted. You could walk around with tattoos on your face, shit in your ears, and all kinds of shit now, and you look normal. Back then, if you had anything even resembling a little bit off, you were a walking target, and you would get jumped.
Yeah.
You know? And ask anybody who was a punk rocker back in the day. They'll tell you that shit.
People glad. I mean, I think it's just, and it's not like we said. It's a lot of things. People glamorize sort of those youth-led movements. You know, the summer of love, and then you hear from people that were really there saying, "Fucking Haight-Ashbury was a nightmare." It was like you know.
You can't take away how all the great aspects of it.
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
But there's always a fucking downside of that people like to fucking leave out when they're fucking, you know, doing.
Because it's been told and retold and retold, and it becomes like a story about a story about a story. Not to plug the DVD again, but one of the one of the great extras in the DVD is Michael Imperioli talking about just this, about the romanticizing of all the generations of musicians and artists and everybody else who went to the Lower East Side, and the difference between those people, including himself, going there, and those people who had to be there without the choice, without the ability to leave if they'd wanted to leave, like children.
100%. You know, I want to do like some hit and runs on like some specific stuff that's in the film. And Harley, you know, if you can kind of
can I just interject one last thing, and I'll let you go. There's a young lady in the film, Nefertiti Jones, and I went to school with her. Like, she was a friend of mine in, I guess, 4th, 5th grade and stuff. And, you know, people, you don't have to take my word. You know, this is a girl that grew up in my neighborhood, and she talks about it, what it was like down there. You know, we're talking about lines of junkies coming out of buildings wrapped around the blocks and stuff. And just like, it was pretty intense, man. It was intense. This was like before it got gentrified, before it was this, that, and the other, and stuff like that. It was just that was normal, and you just figured out how to navigate your way through it and around it. And that was just, you know.
We went to public school. We went to public school in New York back then. You know, public schools.
Well, I stopped going because the fact is at night I was hanging out at Max's and going to clubs and playing shows and hanging out with pretty much adults, only adults. So what the hell did I want to like go and deal with going to school and getting like, you know, because I used to get bullied a lot and shit like that when I was real young until I kind of became a bully myself. You know, so like I had this one life where I was like this cool rock and roll kid at all the clubs, getting in for free everywhere, and then during the day, I was like the kid who was on the shitty end of the fucking totem pole in school. You know what I'm saying? Until I started fucking kids up, and then all of a sudden I became the cool kid in my class, and then I was like, then all of a sudden it was like you started equating like being a hard ass with getting respect and being liked, and then that just starts to work its damage on your you know, on your being. You know, when you started, you know, when you start equating being a hard ass with acceptance.
Why drums, Harley? Why did you gravitate to drums? Why were you at such a young age? Why did you end up a drummer at such a young age as opposed to whatever else? Why drums?
Maybe because it was such a young age. I mean, what kids that don't have rattles and don't hit things? You know? So, right. You know, I'm sure most kids are given, you know, a drum at some point or whatever. I mean, I have always just felt that it's probably because to a degree we're all born with a drum beat in our chest. You know, I've been feeling the beat my whole life, and you know, I mean, I only switched to bass and stuff because I was writing a lot of songs, and while I was a drummer, I had started learning bass and writing music, and in the process of trying to put the Cro-Mags together, I had taught several people how to play our songs. Several of them who never wound up making it into the band. Some of them, you know, and nobody else does. One of them was Todd Youth, who admitted all the time, Harley taught me how to play like that. And when he quit to go play with Warzone, I was like, fuck this. I'm not teaching anybody else how to play. Yeah. I'm switching to bass. And then I started looking for a drummer. And that was when we, you know, on a whim, asked Mackie if he might be interested, because he was playing with that band Urban Blight.
Wasn't Mackie in Frontline, or that was later?
Those were the two bands that he was playing with at the time. Was Frontline and Urban Blight, and so that's when I made the switch from drums to bass. I still love drums; it's still one of my favorite.
You are a great drummer, man. You're and like I saw, and I know we're poking around, but. Like MOI, when you guys were doing the MOI, you were a great drummer, man. You're a great drummer. Yeah. Oh, wait, and you know what? I know we're poking around, but I got to ask, since we're here and we're talking about drums, is it true that there was some talk of you playing drums on this record? What?
I was supposed to play on that fucking record.
Tell us about that.
Okay. True story. And Glenn, as gracious as he is, tries to make me feel less shitty about it. I was supposed to play with them. I started actually going out to their studio out in Jersey and practicing with them before that was recorded. And I was getting a little messy. I was eating a lot of acid and shit.
I was getting a little messy equals drugs.
Drugs. Yeah, pretty much.
Drugs.
There were drugs involved.
Right.
And I don't remember. I mean, I guess I knew you at this time already. You remember when I hitchhiked out to San Francisco from A7 one night? I just upped and jumped in a car with.
Yeah, you bagged out and disappeared, right?
Yeah, well, that was when I was supposed to join the Misfits.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm supposed to join the Misfits in Jersey, but I'm gonna get the fuck out in the middle of the night.
And well, what happened was I almost got stabbed up a couple of nights earlier in Tompkins Square Park, right across the street from A7. And
good old Tompkins Square Park.
You know what? It was this real bad scene, and like, you know, I got jumped by a bunch of Spanish dudes, almost got stabbed up, and I was eating a lot of acid, and I was kind of homeless, and there was just so much bad shit going on in my life, and you know, I really fucked up. It was just the drugs talking, because I could have probably went and stayed in Jersey at their studio, and life would have been good. They were going to take care of me. They were going to put me in the studio. But like that one night, I was just tripping balls, and I got in this car and I fucking jetted, and I disappeared out to California. And then like a couple of months went by, and I finally reached out to them, and they were like, "Where the fuck are you? What?" And they were like, "Dude, we'll fly you back, bro." This is how fucking shot I was.
You left them no choice. They had to go get Robo.
That's cool.
He's all right. Bro, he held it down.
Bro, but check this out. True story. This is terrible, man. This is how fucked up. This is LSD is a fucking bad drug. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Dude, I ate a bunch of acid one time, like too much, like way too much. I wound up tripping for days. It was a bad scene, right? I wound up walking around like shoeless for like about a month because I wanted to feel the earth. Like it was fuck. I was
Mr. Natural. Mr. Fucking Natural here.
Bro, it was bad, right? And I'm 15 and I'm walking around with no shoes on in San Francisco, right? And he's like, come back, we'll fly you back, da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm just not ready yet, man. I got some things I need to work out. This was what I'm telling the motherfucker. He's like trying to get me to fly back and play in the Misfits, and I'm like, I have things to work out. What the fuck did I have to work out? Like, you know.
But tell him what Glenn says now.
Well, now I love him.
He's so cute.
Said, well, if you would have joined us, you might not have started the Cro-Mags. And then we'd only have one great band instead of two. And I'm like,
words of wisdom from the Prince of Darkness.
That's right. That's right.
And by the way, people, we have a cat named Glenn after.
After Glenn Danzig.
Yeah. Hey, Harley. Like, how old were you when you got this burner on your chest?
I got that when I was like 15.
How the fuck do 15-year-olds get tattooed back then? How did that happen?
Well, I already had one. I had this one on my shoulder already. So, like, when you walk into a tattoo parlor,
let me see the first one. What was the first one? Oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh yeah.
And this is actually for those of you who are into tattoo history. This is a Bob Roberts tattoo.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And I actually got this when he was working in New York City on 23rd Street and 3rd Avenue. That parlor he left that place behind when he got robbed at Machine Gun Point, from what I heard. And that was like he did this fucking tattoo. I remember him giving me this tattoo and then asking me afterwards how old I was.
Right.
I'm like,
like that. Yeah,
and
let me just get it.
He was like, huh? And I'm like, don't worry, my mom's got tattoos. At least it's a good one. You know, he's like,
let me answer this question for wait, where was that question? Who's the kid behind Harley in that photo? That's little Chris, and that's little Chris, who's and I wanted to ask you, Harley, like who are your, like when I think back on that kind of era, I kind of think of you, little Chris, Eric Casanova. Like who are your peers? Like who are your boys? Like in that.
Those were the guys who were closest to my age.
Yeah,
and I actually met Chris. He started going to my school right before I left. I stopped going in 7th grade, and I would still. And when I say 7th grade, I had already been left back like a couple times, I think. So I would still go to school and just like, you know, rob other kids and shit like that. So that's where I met Chris, because he was in front of the school leaning against the car, and he was like singing a Clash song. And I'm like, you like the Clash? And you're like, yeah, they're fucking great. And I was like, oh shit. So we started talking, and like, you know, within a few months, his head was shaved too. And, you know.
Yeah, there was like a couple.
I had a whole little crew, just like
you did. There was like this little crew, and it was like,
come on, man. After I came back from Ireland with my head shaved, man, and then like, you know, I had a little crew. Then I went away for a minute, and I came back, and that shit had just like every fucking buddy in New York had a shaved head. This was me getting my head shaved the first time. That's 1980. That's in fucking Belfast, Northern Ireland, and
when you were there, when you were over with the Stimulators.
Yeah, and that was what set off the skinhead scene in New York. This is why the urban myth or truth, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I brought this whole thing back to New York from Ireland in 1980. Now, as anybody will tell you, back then there really was not a skinhead scene in the States. There really wasn't. I had only met like one or two skinheads, and they were from England. They had been in New York visiting. You know, there was a few people with shaved heads on the scene here and there, a couple in California, whatever, people here on Boston, whatever. But people weren't into the whole boots, braces, this whole skinhead thing. That was the beginning of that coming to New York. And we all know New York had like one of the first skinhead scenes in the States, if not the first. So you can do the math however you want it, but that's how the reputation, rumor, whatever started. Was that
where is that other shot? You're still friends with that guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Wait, I got it. Here is said dude shaving Harley's head like a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a throwback moment. Yeah. Raymond Falsey. He was
with a beer, with a pint.
Yeah. You had a pint. Yeah. John Paul Stone says Harley and Sab Gray are the ground zero of American skinheads.
Well, you know, because Sab used to go to England every once in a while, so he kind of saw that shit over there. But I never, I mean, for me, it started there. I had seen skinheads when I went to England in the 70s. I just didn't know what the fuck they were.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember noticing and being like, what the fuck? But when the stories in the movie, like how that whole shit, and it's a cool story. And actually, the first riot that I was ever at, they have footage from it in the film of the beginning of it happening at Ulster Hall when we played there with it was the first punk and new wave, the first international punk and new wave festival in Ireland.
It's all there's great, but I just want to say that if in the film there's some really, really great Stimulators footage interview over there, and just some really great archival stuff that I've never seen. And I'm like a music geologist, like an architologist. I mean, when I see stuff like that, I'm like,
say nerd. You mean nerd?
You mean music nerd? Isn't that what they're saying?
No, I'm not a music nerd. I'm like a music film archaeologist. Like
nerd.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Own it.
I'm a nerd. All right,
nerd. The funny thing is, I've seen so much of. Obviously, Harley has a huge archive, and I've seen so many of the photographs and the footage was extraordinary. Like, it blew our minds. There's stuff in there that Harley, and certainly that means me, had never seen before. So it was really
I know.
Phenomenal.
Hey, let me ask you something, and I didn't ask this when we did our last thing. That footage of you guys in front of Ukrainian Hall, that black and white footage, like on 2nd Avenue with, I think, Rogers. I never saw that stuff before that's in the film.
Actually, I think...
Was that outside of Misfits, the Misfits show?
That's Rogers. That's Rogers footage.
Actually, we got that footage from Roger.
Yeah.
I I don't remember who shot that, but if I'm not mistaken, I think that was on. I don't think it's in the front of the Ukrainian Hall. I think it's on 7th Street, if I recall correctly. But you could be right, man. It's somewhere in the neighborhood there.
And Ethan's in that footage. This shot, somebody just said it's a classic photo. That's for those who may not recognize. That's Roger in the front, Harley, Stigma, and Ray. Ray B's in the back. But that is Roger. That is Roger in the front with the skins tattoo on the back of his head.
Yes, which is why he was facing that way. We were trying to show what was written on his head, but you can't see it.
Right. Good stuff. You know, now that we've gotten through like 5% of my notes.
Yeah, huh? Yeah, we can do this shit all night. How long you got here? How long you got, man?
Hey, let's do this. Let me take a sponsor break. Let's do a sponsor break. If you got to get up and take a whiz or anything, or go smoke a butt, let me do a couple minutes sponsor break. We'll come back and we'll run it some more. Okay.
Cool.
I'll see you in a couple. That's right. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, often imitated, never duplicated. Our guest today, Harley Flanagan, Laura Flanagan, talking about the DVD Blu-ray release of Wired for Chaos. We're probably going to go at it pretty long today. I hope you don't have a plane to catch. Let's do some promo stuff, and we'll be right back. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You could do that. But the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking...
And we're back. It is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today, Harley Flanagan, Laura Flanagan, DVD release of Wired for Chaos. You could also watch it on streaming. There is the code, and it's at wiredforchaos.com. Hey, want to mention upcoming shows that we have real quick before we bring our guests back. Sunday, December 20th, Candace from Walls of Jericho, co-hosted by Lori Dawn. Dave Ingram coming up January 4th. Jennifer Finch from L7, January 11th. Big Rob Castoria from Scarhead, Metal Storm, etc. Wednesday, January 21st. John Gallagher from Raven, Sunday, January 25th. Howard Wolfing, author, February 4th. Yo Pepper Keenan from Corrosion of Conformity and Down, Sunday, February 8th. Steve Berlin from Los Lobos. Listen, everybody's welcome on this boat, kids. You know that. Steve Berlin from Los Lobos. Chris Wren has a great book out, Fenway Punk. I just read it. Fucking great book. Happy birthday, Chris. Sunday, February 22nd. We got Wayne from Hatebreed. Just announced this the other day. Sunday, March 1st. Steve Blush has a book coming out, When Rock Met Hip Hop, author of American Hardcore. Sunday, March 8th. Bill Stevenson of The Descendants, all formerly of Black Flag, currently of Flag, coming on the show. Yo, 5 years into it, 400 shows. Come on now. One thing's for sure, we ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Want to thank everybody, especially patrons out there that support the show. Being a patron on Patreon is the best way to support the show. I put the link up before. There is the, if you want to scan it, please support the show. I want to shout out latest patrons, Tommy Cole, Gabriel McPolin, and Jan Ferris. Thank you for supporting the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live and for enabling. Thanks for being an enabler. You're a good enabler. If you're thinking about it, now's the time, man. The show needs your support. There it is. There's a PayPal address there. Don't be a Hatreon. Join Patreon. That said, there's a PayPal address there. There's also a super chat function. So if in the chat room. So there you go. There you go. Thank you. That's a super chat function. Thank you, Courtney. That works as well. But hey, listen. What matters is you're here, and I appreciate it. And I also want to say I appreciate all the Facebook pages that repost this show and the link, and through all the years have let me repost and push this show. So that said, we are good. Thank you. It is a great show. Everyone sign up. Listen to Josh. Everyone sign up for the Patreon. That said, let's bring our guests back on. Harley Flanagan and Laura Flanagan. Hey.
Hello.
Pow. Let me put you. It's like the Brady Bunch. I got to put everyone back in their right in their right boxes. Let's poke around a little bit more. Harley, this shot kind of like a show and tell kind of thing. You talk about in the film. Your first band technically was that Little Big Boss. Yeah, actually, that was my first band, and it was a punk band. And we did a show with this band that you see on stage, which is actually the Brats, and that is Hank Sherman on guitar, who founded. Oh, wow! I never put that together. That was the Brats. Yes. That's cool. That's the Brats, and that's Hank Sherman. Merciful Fate. Yeah, pow. Wow. Man. Very cool. Now just think about this for a second. See how young I was in that picture? I was at that point on my first tour with a band of two other people who were adults in their 20s, two French guys, with no parent, no adult supervision other than two guys that we had only met like maybe a couple months prior. Yeah, I got that picture again. It looks like you were holding your own. Yeah, no. Look, as a parent, would you ever think about letting your 12 that child? Actually, I wasn't even 12 yet. You're fucking crazy. That was 1977, going on 8. So I was 10 actually. So that was man. Fuck.
bro. You know,
bro, but your style is impeccable.
Yes.
I mean, I was just checking your style, bro. On point.
I was rocking the mohair sleeves before Captain Sensible, dude. Come on, man.
He has those sleeves still. They exist in the closet.
No, I don't have the sleeves. I have the collar. Remember?
Oh, the collar.
wow.
That's right. The hair
Bro,
collar.
actually, some of the shit that I still have is ridiculous, bro. Like, I still have, like, I actually think I might be wearing the shirt that we have in the frame.
Oh, the little one, yeah. Oh,
I guess I used to, like, make my own punk rock shirts, because they didn't sell them back then. So you had to, like, make them yourself. And
Harley has to be the only person alive who saw Hank before Merciful Fate, Bad Brains, Misfits, Black Flag Clash. The whole thing's just wild.
It is, yeah, it is pretty intense.
Hey, going off my notes, in the film,
like the last person said, deep feelings. Well, that's because there is a downside to all that shit. What goes up must come down. You know. It's funny because people always used to say, man, you lived such a great life. You saw so many things, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, they don't fucking know, man. Like, yo, there was a fucking dark side to everything that seemed awesome in hindsight, man. You don't know, man. You don't want to live in here.
You mentioned you're already in the Stimulators. Stimulators stuff is happening. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I think you said the Sex Pistols were really pivotal for you. Could you just talk about that a second? How Sex Pistols sort of really like spun you around?
What happened was actually like literally months before that photo you just showed. Like that was really it, right? That was my second punk rock show that I had ever been to. Was that one that you showed the picture of? At the first one, I went wearing more or less the same clothes, but I had like long hair because, like, you know, I was raised by like my hippie mom, you know. And at that first show, the punk rockers were like, "You're really cool, but the hair's got to go." And they sat me down and just like scissored it all off and spiked it all up. I remember that shit like it was fucking yesterday. Coming home that night and being like,
"It's time for a makeover."
Yeah, like dad's gonna kill me, you know, like. You know, and but anyway, like,
well, welcome to Celebrity Makeover of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Today, our guest is Harley Flanagan. We're going to be a 12-year-old Harley Flanagan. Right?
Well, hold on.
Harley through the years.
No, but see, look, man, what you got to understand is because this is what my hair. This is what my hair looked like when I went to the show.
Right.
You know. Except that I had that outfit on, and these punk rock kids were like, "Yo, you're really cool, but the hair's got to go." Because like what had happened, like I started to tell you, is I had just discovered the Sex Pistols like probably a couple months or so before that. My mother, again, my mom, she went to fucking England, just on a trip with a friend, right? And because she was always really into music and was always, you know, current and up on what was fresh, she went into a record store and asked them, "What is cool right now? What are the kids into? What's popping? And I want to get some records for my son." And never mind the bollocks. And the first Damned album and the first Clash album were all pretty fresh. They had all pretty much just came out. So she came home with those records and Young, Loud, and Snotty by Dead Boys. So those albums and a stack full of Stiff records. For those of you who don't remember, that was a label that was one of the early independent punk labels, kind of like, you know, what we all started doing with Discord and all those other. Stiff was like the first. There were not a lot of labels doing punk stuff back then. And they put out all the Damned's first singles. So she brought back Damned, Nick Lowe, Reckless Eric, fucking
Ian Dury. Wasn't Ian Dury on that? Yeah,
Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. Like, this is what she brings back for her fucking 10-year-olds. Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. You know, yeah. And I'm like dancing around the house singing this shit, you know?
Yep.
So she kind of said, so what happened was when I heard the Sex Pistols, that just changed. That was it for me. I mean, prior to that, I was into music. I was really into reggae. I used to draw pictures of Hendrix and The Who, and I was into music. I played music. I was already playing in school with other musicians and playing drums and blah, 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 blah. But that sexual shit, that's when I felt like I had found myself at 10.
Makes sense. and then you also mentioned in the film, which I thought was really revealing and made a lot of sense. It was very cool. And I quote, right? I quote, "When I saw the circle jerks, that was the end of the Stimulators for me." So that was seemed like another musical watershed moment. Could you talk about that a sec?
Well, were you at that show?
Was that Circle
Irving
Jerks?
Plaza.
No, I wasn't.
It was I think it was
Irving Plaza.
Yeah, it was us, them, and who the fuck else was on that bill? I can't remember right now.
Let me see. I might have the flyer somewhere. Let me look.
All I know is that was a game-changing show for me. Necros played, and it was like the first time that a large group of the DC kids had ever come down to New York, in force. So it was like the first time that the New York scene, still mostly like punk rock people, like people who would like pogo and push each other around a little bit and like play the wall, like you said, and then all of a sudden all these fucking young fucking straight edge fucking knuckleheads came down and just started fucking basically playing football without the ball. Just started like tackling each other and fucking dying, it was just like, and most of the New York heads who were hanging out were like, what the fuck is this shit? Most of them were like, yo, this ain't cool. Like, what the fuck is going on? And it actually took like a couple of, took a little while for New York to catch up and start playing that game too, But
they were smoking. They were Lucky playing drums. They were smoking.
Yo, that fucking original OG lineup of the Circle Jerks was fucking crazy, man. If you saw that shit, man, that band was tight as fuck, man.
Look at this. Look at this one.
What Black Flag had in like explosiveness and shit, Circle Jerks had in fucking tightness.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean? You felt sort of you were in the Stimulators, and that was kind of. I always felt like the Stimulators were sort of like a bridge. The Stimulators were like the bridge between like punk rock and hardcore. I felt like the Stimulators were like that bridge.
We kind of connected that in New York. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but we definitely that's the role we played. And I have to say, in some ways, it was probably more circumstantial than anything else. For one, I was young. I was the youngest person on the scene. And the Stimulators started attracting a lot of young kids, the Beastie Boys, the girls from Luscious Jackson. As you remember, a lot of people used to bug out on how young I was. And it actually caused a lot of those people to want to start bands themselves because they were like, shit, if he can do it, we can do it too. I'm not sucking my own dick here. I'm being honest, And a lot of my friends who were close to my age started, and those were the kids who became the New York hardcore scene, a lot of them. And other people like Stigma, who was part of that whole punk rock switch over, And so because we were so young, we had a fan base of young kids that kind of became the first wave of New York hardcore bands. Like there ain't a New York hardcore band that from the first generation that wasn't in the audience at our shows, whether you're talking about the guys from Agnostic Front,
Jesse Malin, Stigma, Paris was a big Stimulators. I mean,
Mob, what's his all of those bands that were
John Barry,
the Nihilistics, every band that you could think of that was first gen New York hardcore. Were at Stimulators shows. So although we were not a hardcore band by any stretch of the imagination, we did have a few songs that were influenced by the Bad Brains, like the song Machine. We started pushing the speed a little bit and just trying to push. But, we were, I hate to say we were soft compared to what was yet to come, but in a lot of ways we were, because we were into shit like, the Buzzcocks, you know, the Rezillos, Generation X, you know, of course, all the other stuff too, the Clash, fucking, you know, Sham 69, whatever. But, you know, we were having this discussion the other day, I think, you know, how the first generation of punk bands were all very unique in their sound because they didn't grow up listening to punk bands because there wasn't any punk before them. And it was the same thing with the first generation of hardcore bands. There really Club X. There wasn't a scene or a textbook hardcore sound in the beginning. You had bands that had grown up on punk and other shit, creating what would be termed as hardcore.
You know, I think, like you said, soft. They were soft. Now, back in the day, that was that, right. That's a Bad Brains thing. It was like, yo, how were they? They were hard. They were hard. She was hard. And then whoa. And
that sums it up.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Like, you can say that shit was whack.
How were they? How were they? They were hard.
Yeah. That shit was whack.
Which kind of brings us to this, and I gotta say, I gotta lead off with, do you still have the hollow body guild bass?
Well, it's a long, ugly story, but I will just say I still have the same bass, but made of different parts.
Right.
I'll just leave it at that.
You still look incredibly young in this photo. I mean, when you first started playing, when you first got the Cro-Mags going, and which is a little bit of interesting history because the first official Cro-Mags show was Jesse Malin and Heart Attacks. Jesse Malin and well, it's kind of last show, and I was on the bill with the High and the Mighty.
I'll give them a backstory on this, but yes, people, this is how far me and Drew go back. Now, the Cro-Mags, I had started working on the Cro-Mags while I was still in the Stimulators. It was like my project that I wanted to create. I had the name. I started playing with different players, and we did one show opening up for the Stimulators at the Peppermint Lounge. But like a few weeks before the show, I felt like we are not ready. This doesn't sound. I don't want to go out and present this as the Cro-Mags yet. We're not fucking there yet. So I didn't want all my friends to come and expect to see my new thing and have it suck. So I build it as Disco Smoothie. Don't ask me why. Smoothies weren't a thing then. You didn't drink smoothies back then. It was just like a joke because I used to call people at discos like disco smoothies because they were out there dancing and trying to be smooth. You know, you get it. So it was like a joke name. It was just totally stupid. It was actually meant to make people not come. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everybody I know to not come to this because I don't feel ready yet. That was the genesis of that. Anyway, the show you played at, that was the first show we ever did at CBGB's with Eric Casanova on vocals.
There it is. And hold on. Hold on. Boom. From that show.
Show me what you got. By the way, people, he got most of these photos probably from my page, just so you know. Yeah, boom. There you go. Boom. Mr. Eric J. Casanova.
Yeah.
He was really one of my best friends when I was a kid. And he was a great front man. He was like a junior league dynamic breaker, I believe, you know, because he was an early era B-boy who got into hardcore.
He was a good kid. He's a kind soul.
Yeah, he was a great guy. And I remember on stage, he would, like, every once in a while between parts, he'd just drop on the floor and start doing, like, hand spins and all kinds of crazy shit, then pop back up and grab the mic. It was fucking great. I was like, dude, he could have just, had he stuck with it, he would have been a fucking great front man.
But it makes sense because I remember you guys were talking about Cro-Mags for, like, a long time before it actually materialized, like almost like 2 years.
And that's why when I did that first show, it was like I really wanted it to be something special. Look, you got to understand, I was a kid, right? And I already had this fucking rep. I was already in all the papers, and I even got mentioned on that stupid fucking remember when I got mentioned on that sitcom Square Pegs? Like that, they fucking mentioned me on that show. Like I was like kind of a fixture on the nightclub scene to the point where I was making it into the papers and shit like that. So like, if I was gonna leave that band and start something, I wanted the shit to fucking really be. So I couldn't go out there and suck. So when we had that first gig, I was like, I gotta change the name. I can't fucking go out there and because everybody. Anyway, there you have it.
Yeah, makes sense. You know. I think I saw.
Like, these guys fucking shut up.
I think I saw, for whatever the reason. I think I saw like the first. I think I saw every show you did with Eric singing. For whatever the reason, whether we played, I was there. There was only like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Not even 4 or 5. I think there may have been 3.
But I just remember seeing you guys with Eric a bunch of times.
Yeah. Well,
A7,
me and him were always together, and just like long story short, man, that's when you're 15 and or 16, however old he was, and you knock someone up and actually try to have a family, that's, life changes real quick.
Yeah. What else? Let me steer it back to the film. Let me wrestle it. Let me wrestle like takedown.
Comments. If we start to fucking ramble and definitely like, just tell him,
People are along. I got news for you. People are along for the ride.
And you know what? I could talk to you for hours, so like I could sit here and fucking.
Hey, if anybody's bored with this, you don't have to watch.
Yeah, you can fuck off.
Go fuck off. As a matter of fact, fuck off.
Yeah, there you go.
How's that? I got one for you. Listen, we're in the film. Let me just say this. In the film, somehow Harley's 5th grade teacher shows up in the film. Like, how did that happen, Laura? Like, all of a sudden, I'm watching the film, and like, Harley's 5th grade teacher, and she was friggin' great in it. It was how did he get Harley's 5th grade teacher?
Mrs. Drucker, Nina Drucker.
Mrs. Drucker.
Drucker, yeah, she was amazing. She's incredible. We got in touch with her through Eric Drucker. Am I correct, Harley? And I don't remember how
he reached out to us because of something that I had posted.
Yeah.
And I believe he reached out to us through Instagram, and he reached out to, I guess, the Cro-Mags page and said, I am Nina Drucker's son.
Harley's 5th grade teacher, or whatever it is. And
when I got that message, I was like, oh, shit. And we were, bro, I think we were like done with all the interviews.
We were done.
So that was like, that should happen last second. Like, that was meant to be because, she's like 90 years old. So the fact that we fucking got her in last fucking second,
it's meant.
And she was at the premiere when it played at NYHC.
It's when you land someone like that in a doc like this, because there's the usual suspects. Hey, Henry Rollins, Ian, but boom, Mrs. Drucker. You're like, what? It's great.
And let me tell you, man, it was so nice to see her, man, because she was really good.
Lovely.
Person. There's only a couple of people that stuck out in my childhood memory as being like people who genuinely cared.
And she was so cute too. She's like, as we were leaving her apartment, she says, so hurry up. I'm 90 years old. You better finish this film. I'd like to see this film.
Aw.
It's like,
the teacher's in the movie, Darren.
Yeah.
The teacher's in the movie.
Man,
she came to the premiere. She's wonderful.
She still plays piano every day and every day. I mean, the woman is an inspiration. If I could be that coherent. Actually, I hope to be completely incoherent sooner than later because I have a hard enough time with the shit that goes on in my brain. So, like,
cut it off.
The sooner I think that's why I did so many drugs through most of my life was to try to kill my memory and and deal with shit.
It's okay. You know what? You do shows like this, people give you back your memories. They come on your show, go, remember the time we did that? And you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I lost all my memory, but I've interviewed and talked to so many people now. Like, okay, I don't remember it, but you say it happened.
When I thought I was like taking the shit for final. Like, I'm done with this now. And so then that turned into a thing where I had to talk about the book. Then the fucking film gets made, and I got to do all these Q&As. And watch my life fucking flash before my eyes on a big screen. Like, I thought this was over. I'm trying. You know.
Yeah. One thing I mentioned when we did the thing down at Generation, you know, I really like how, the film is about your life, and the Cro-Mags thing is just a part of your life. And it doesn't sort of, I was so happy that it didn't descend into like a whole Cro-Mags thing. It was really just a stop on the bus. And I really enjoyed that about the film.
You know what? I the only thing I can say about that is I didn't make the film. So really, I had nothing to do with anything. I mean, they interviewed me. They talked about everything. I know they had discussed how they were going to do this, that, the other. And there were moments, I'm sure she could tell you better than me. In fact, I'm going to let you tell him.
Well, I think the two big subjects that the editors and the director went deep down the rabbit hole on a very long digression that eventually had to get pulled back were Cro-Mags and how to deal with it, and then the subject of skinheads, because it's such a misunderstood subject. So there were two roads that they significantly went down editorially and then stopped. And in both instances, particularly the Cro-Mags, I remember Elizabeth Haviland James, who's the extraordinary editor of this film, said, wait a minute, this is getting lost. This isn't a documentary about the Cro-Mags. This is a documentary about Harley. And suddenly there's so much that we have to stop it. And so it only made sense to just stop it. And the same thing kind of happened with the skinhead discussion, because it started to become a story about skinheads and the history of skinheads and the history. And it was like, well, this is too much. This is too off track. And so both were just quietly put in a place.
Were you, well, let me put it like this. Martin Scorsese says, if you don't want to throw yourself off a building after seeing the first cut of your film, then something's not right. Were you, when you saw the first cut, were you freaked out?
Well, yeah, go for it.
Go ahead, Harley.
Well, I only saw like a short trailer idea when they first started, like the very first, like they just wanted to show us like an idea for what they were getting. And I didn't like it at all. This again, as we were talking about earlier, when I went into the first interview, I was in a really negative place. I was like pissed. I didn't feel comfortable in front of the camera. I didn't feel comfortable talking about my life. And they caught me in a lot of really, let me just say, angry way. They caught me on some off days because I hadn't really worked through a lot of that stuff. Like, again, like I said, man, I was going through therapy through this process of making this film. And, you know, a lot of stuff I hadn't really worked through yet. So what they got out of me was just me pissed off. And they didn't really get the root cause of what made me who I am. They didn't really, like, it was like only a few minutes long, but it just came off really angry. And yes, I am angry. It says it right in the first fucking piece. Like, I feel like I've been angry for the last 50 years, but there's more to it though. And what got me there? And it's just like, yeah, I feel like I've been, but that's not who I am. And that's what the story starts to untangle. And then as it gets to the end where I'm really like, now I'm like deep in therapy, I've gone through all kinds of shit. And I'm like, wow, you know? So anyway, what I was trying to say is, no, the first one I didn't like the person that it was portraying, but then even as they started going further in and they had a rough cut that they first showed Laura, I remember her being like, I don't really like this person, and I'm
Yeah, I
married.
don't like him at all. I'm married to him. Like, there's something.
I'm kind of locked into this deal here. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I think what you can explain this better than me. Once again, when one of the other editors got brought on board, all of a sudden you had once again a different perspective, and this was a woman's perspective,
right?
So where she wasn't getting pulled in by all the testosterone driven, like who's a badass.
And that's Elizabeth Haviland, right?
Correct. When Biz came in, I think the focus on the fighting and the martial arts and the aggression and it had a flatness to it that like I said, when I saw it, I'm like, I don't really like this guy. Like, I don't feel anything for this person you're portraying here, and there's more to this that you're not getting at. And when Biz came in, she really just saw the child, and she really saw that archive and was like, Jesus Christ, there's a child here. Let's follow the child through his life and see what happens, because when you do, suddenly you're brought in at this early stage and you kind of grow through it with him and feel connected to him like you would any child that goes through such a life. Well, traumatic and incredible experiences and everything else all mixed together.
Sure. And
sorry.
That's why a lot of directors should not be editing their films.
Correct.
Because I'm a director, and I've come to this point a bunch of times, because what happens, and then this is just for sort of like for anybody out there that wonders about this kind of process. When you're a director and you're doing something like this, you have a lot invested in the film, emotionally, financially, and whatever. Yes. And then you're sitting in the edit room, and it's like, yo, we can't cut that shot out. I spent fucking all this money on it, and this and that, and and
You're emotionally attached to it.
You're emotionally attached to it. And a lot of people don't have the ability to just go, you know what? Fuck it. And that's what I told you about. What I do is I have something. What I do is I call it the fuck it cut, where I wake up early. I wake up early one morning, right? All preconceived notions are out of my head, and I just sit down and I just start loping heads off. I just start cutting. Because you know what? Because you have to do what's best for the art. That's the number one thing.
Well, and sometimes getting to the point in the most direct way is what makes the most sense, depending on the circumstance. Not in every situation, but sometimes, it's like, for me, it's been like that with songwriting, especially lately. Like, I'm like, let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. Like, let me stop fucking around. I don't need 3 or 4 parts to get to the big, heavy part. It should be the fucking big, heavy part as soon as it punches you in the fucking face. And that should only lead to a bigger, heavier part. So to fucking lose all these other fucking connecting fibers that fucking are just me fucking, let me fucking throat punch.
And I think Rex was really from the beginning working with him when he said about the Arthur Ashe project. He had to bring in this and bring in that, and he said, "Listen, in the end, what's best for Arthur?" And that was real, and that resonated with both of us. And I think, for this, I saw some of the stuff that got cut, and it was just tragic. I was like, no, that's my favorite. How could you leave that out?
There was a lot of things.
It was just Biz came in, chopping, lopping, throwing things away. She's like, forget it. We have 100. We have an hour and 40 minutes.
That's right.
Let's go.
And this is John Paul Stone. Right. Mixing a record's the same. It's really hard to keep objectivity on getting the best levels for the song and keep away from, is my performance being heard enough? Very true. Because that's why bands don't mix their own records.
Speaking of which, John, I just fucking cut a third of one of my new songs out because I was just like, it doesn't need that section.
Yeah.
Let me just fucking get to the fucking point. Like, now I'm just like jerking off here. Like, who gives a fuck about hearing this? Like,
Yep.
You got to get to the point. And it's the same thing with this thing in the doc. It's like, you can't tell every story.
That's right.
And you can't tell every story in its entirety. So like, there's even a few times that I never know. I don't know shit about making films. Sometimes, they'll take 2 or 3 stories, and the way they get edited, they wind up telling an altogether different story. Not necessarily stories, but they paint a bigger picture. So you're not getting the entire story. Like, you may have a line or here or there. It's editing, bro. For those of you who've never done this shit, it was a really interesting, experience to see how this stuff is done. And again, I didn't see this shit till it was finished.
It was interesting to have worked with Harley on his book, which was much larger picture and in much more minute detail and many more stories and all that stuff. So seeing that and being fairly chronological in the telling, I mean, it had a little movement, but it was pretty chronological. And then help, being a part of this, which was so much more abstract. I mean, the process, because you just have less time, you have less material to tell a full story with, like, it's very interesting.
That was one of the cool things about Feral House too, is they gave me a lot of creative freedom. Like, that book could have been as long as I fucking wanted it to, and had as many photos as I want. He was like, I'm printing what you give me. Right. So it could have been full of typos. It could have been full of fucking, whatever. It could, but so we were able to tell a lot more stories. When you're trying to take, 50 plus years and condense it to an hour and change, that shit's not easy. Especially when you've had as many, crazy experiences as I have.
Yeah. Good. Did any of that stuff make it on the DVD as bonus stuff, Laura?
What stuff you made?
There's the material that's on the DVD. Yeah, a lot of it are stories from the interviewees that made it in, that were wonderful and they didn't have a place in the narrative, but they were so great. And I will just say that there are more. There are many, many more.
The DVD extras are great. I've seen them. Like I mentioned the Henry Rollins thing before. The DVD extras, they're really excerpts from some of the interviews.
They're stories from interviews.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Yep. Yeah, really, really good stuff. That said, let me see what else I got. Let me do this. Let's take a quick sponsor break. It'll be do you guys have a hard out? Is there dinner on the stove or anything, or could we do like another half hour?
Oh, we're here for you. We're here for the hardcore community. We're here to,
Well, let's do another half hour. Let me take a quick sponsor break. Get up, shake it out a second, and then we'll come back. We'll take some questions from around the world, okay?
Great.
I'll see you in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right. That's right. You asked for it, you got it. The one, the only, often imitated, never duplicated, clank your chains, count your change, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126hardcoreclothing.com. Come on now, Rachel. She Devil's Coven is a female-owned entrepreneur business based out of Connecticut. Owner Rachel King Key's handcraft soil wax candles set with intentions for your sanctuaries. She's accomplished a life goal dream since beauty school, debuting her artist showcase Hotties and Hellions that features live bands, burlesque, sideshow acts, vendors, food trucks, and this year, a live auction with all proceeds going to the mental health program Punk Rock Saves Lives. Catch her in the tri-state area doing her thing, slinging candles at events, and keep an eye out for her show coming to New York in the spring of 2026. You can find her on Etsy and on Instagram. Last but not least, come on now. Minty Fresh presents our promotion company that put on hardcore metal shows at Locals Bar in Manalapan, the jewel of New Jersey. Founded by Chris Golis of Bulldoze and Frankie DeAngelis of Silence Equals Death, the shows are all ages with plenty of free parking. The kitchen's open all night and the bar until 2 a.m. If you're a band looking to play and you don't totally suck, or if you do suck and you draw a fuckload of people, reach out to them at mintyfreshpresents@gmail.com. Ticket pre-sales for events are available at mintyfreshnewjersey.com. Check them out on Instagram at mintyfresh and help spread the word. Support DIY hardcore and metal in Central New Jersey. Minty Fresh Presents. You know what? That reminds me. We're actually playing one of these shows. You heard? Coming up on boom. Saturday, January 24th, out at Locals in Manalapan, New Jersey. Sheer Terror, The Take, Nailed to the Cross, Incendiary Device, Tear Gas, Pool Scum, and Concrete Burial. That's right. A rare incendiary device outside of the New York City subway system. Come on out Saturday, January 24th. Tickets are on sale now. So don't be scared. Come on out. Want to mention a couple of other events that are coming up. Sunday, January 25th, free all ages Sunday matinee. Sworn Enemy, Brass Knuckle Brigade, Nailed to the Cross, Deadshot, Fracture. Yo, this is the last show we're doing at the Bowery Electric. The Bowery Electric is closing, being remodeled, and being reopened as the Bowery Empire. Is that what it is? Jesse Mallon is doing his show there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the next couple of months. So we are moving it down to back to where it all began. A7, currently known as Niagara. First show there is Sunday, February 15th. ID's headlining. Silence Equals Death, Sad Plant, Dying Breed, and Reconstruction. The March show is non-resident. Shoot the 5, The Long Wait. Blah, blah, blah. We are going back to where it all began at A7. So lots going on. Once again, please support the show if you can. There is the link. There is the Lancelot link for Patreon. Best way to support the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Be an enabler. It's not always a bad thing to be an enabler, you know. You can enable this show. You'll be all right. That said, questions for our guests. Put them up. What you got? And we will continue. I think we've covered everything. Oh, if you're watching the show in rerun, please subscribe to Stone Films NYC YouTube page. There it is. Subscribe right there. There's a subscribe button. Also, please, if you're new to this, please pick up your communication device and follow us on Instagram at Stone Films NYC. Also, give the show a like. Reach over right now. Give it a like. Give it a heart. Whatever. I hear it's good for the analytics. That said, let's bring our guests back on. Senor Harley Flanagan and Laura Flanagan. Here you go.
Hello.
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 Mr. Stone.
Let's see what we got. Let me see.
Come on, hit me with some good questions out there in the world, people.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. This is a cool question. Let's go with this. When playing small clubs like CBGB in the beginning of the Cro-Mags career, could you ever imagine playing a sold-out arena opening for the Misfits decades later?
Nope. Nope. I couldn't imagine the Misfits playing at it.
Yeah, right?
I couldn't imagine any of that shit, man. I actually couldn't imagine being alive for this many years past what everybody thought my expiration date was going to be, which was 20. Now, I didn't think the Cro-Mags, for me, playing at CB's was a big deal. I didn't think I really didn't have, and it's funny because you know how they say that what you put out into the universe is what you get. You have to really. I was never success. I never wanted to be a rock star, and that's what I got. It's like, and it's like now it's like I see all these bands blowing up, and I'm like, and then I realized it's like that's not the energy I was putting out into the universe. I just wanted to I just wanted to do my thing. I was so busy just being authentic that I was not trying to be successful, you know.
You know what I always laughed at when you used to call the Misfits the Kiss Fits.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yes, but we said that with love. They were our
Kiss Fits.
No, you know what? I said that with love because I never liked Kiss. I wasn't like the rest of the people in rock. You know, I never liked. I was into punk. I never liked or gave a fuck about arena rock type shit. The people on the stage should be no different than the people in the crowd, at least from where I came from.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about Godzilla shit on stage. Like, to me, it was not, you know. So for me, the Kiss Fits were as close as I could get to that, and I loved them. They were like, and I still love them. And I fucking love the songs, great songwriting, and so fucking honored to have done all those shows with them and with Danzig. We toured with Danzig at the beginning of this year. This was a fucking crazy year, though.
Yeah. Please tell John Angeli says, please tell hello to Harley and Laura. Hey, John.
What up?
John Angeli says hello.
Hello, John.
All is well, my brother.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good. I like this. Like, Harley, what type of music do you listen to that we would be surprised about?
I'll answer that. No.
Oh yeah, Laura, you take us. Yeah. What is Harley? Lay it on us.
The Harley morning playlist is like some old school funk. There's a lot of like R&B. There's some really sappy R&B. Oh God, sometimes.
Yeah, I do like a lot of really bad R&B, like that. I admit, like, you know. Yeah,
a lot of it.
But I have a wide range of taste, you know. I mean, I go through everything. I mean, God, what were we listening to when you were at my house?
He was on like a wet leg tear for like a week. I'm like,
what's
are we
that?
listening to wet leg again?
I don't even know what wet leg is. What the fuck is wet leg? Is that a band? Is that a band or a genre?
I heard a song in the radio.
It's a band, like, and they're very cute. But
I get earwigs stuck in my
like
head.
when he found this group Daughter a few years ago, and we were like,
yeah. Oh, well, like, check this shit out. I mean, for instance, we did a show with this band about 5 years ago, and I was like, these guys are great. I'm like, they got a lot of energy, you know, awesome. I was telling Laura about them, and fucking. Wow, all of a sudden, Turnstile blew the fuck up. I thought they were good, and I didn't know who the fuck they were. It was just a band who opened up for us. And, you know, I'm like, and, you know, it's funny because, you know, how we were talking about nostalgia and shit, right? You know, I had someone doing a Q&A with me trying to tell me about, you know, the glory days of hardcore. Do you think there'll ever be, you know, things like that again, whatever. And I'm like, bro, I honestly think that hardcore hasn't even reached its best potential or era yet, because I mean, there's so many more people now, there's so many more musicians now, and there's so much more stuff to be influenced by now. And, you know, I think I think I'm lucky to be part of. First of all, I'm lucky to be alive, but to be one of the people that forget about it. I'm actually a punk rock dude. I'm not even a fucking hardcore dude. Let's just get real. I'm like my people of the fucking. I grew up with the Ramones and the Dead Boys. You know, hardcore. You know, but like, you know, I was out on tour with Haywire. Those guys are killing it. You know, what's the one thing hardcore has in common? From Haywire all the way up to Turnstile, it's that interaction of the audience.
Say it.
That shit is that's the powerful shit, man. You know, and that's why I was never pulled in by shit like Kiss and stuff like that, because I need something where there's real genuine interaction, where you feel like you just like when I train jiu-jitsu, man, when I fucking finish training, I feel like I worked. When I go to the gym or work out, I feel like I worked. When I go to a fucking show, I want to feel like I worked. Whether I'm playing it or I'm fucking enjoying it. I don't want to go home like, oh, that was nice. I don't want to go home smelling good. I want to go home like clothes fucking torn.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense. Hold on. I was just down with people. You know, people start watching the show, and then everyone starts sending me photos. Like, it's like, if you're gonna send me, fucking do it before, like, the day or two before the show when I'm building the show, not as I'm actually interviewing fucking people. Dina. That said, jazz connoisseur Ray Hogan asks, how much was fusion an influence? I hear it in your playing.
Well, you listen to the intro to We Gotta Know and you tell me. I mean, that's just straight fusion. I got that idea from, because Bad Brains turned me on to RTF and Mahavishnu and RTF Return to Forever and all that type of shit when I was young. Stanley Clark and this and that. And I didn't have the skill to play that type of crazy, complicated shit. Still don't. But you can still think out of the box, right? And be inspired. And I started realizing that a lot of that fusion stuff is actually pretty simple parts. It's all the little details that fucking, and that's why I just threw those few notes together and just told Mackie to go fucking bananas over it, and it just became, it's classic because it was out of the box for hardcore. And then the rest of it straight up inspired by Eye Against Eye. I'm not even gonna fucking front, man.
Yeah.
They had stopped playing that song live, the Bad Brains, and I missed hearing it. And the only person I knew who had a cassette of it was Dave Hahn. So I used to go to his house and be like, would you play that song? Would you play that song? And then one day I was like, I gotta write a song that fucking feels like that because you don't play it anymore. And I fucking, that's the genesis of fucking We Gotta Know.
Another influence. Could you talk about your relationship with this man here?
Well, it's amazing, and it's both fucked up and beautiful because it's fucked up because the first time I ever did like meth was with him and the Animal, and I was like 15 at the Mud Club, and that story, just that whole night, just went into a like really filthy, debaucherous place that's in the book. But anyway, I was 15, and as a parent, in hindsight, I gotta say I don't give a fuck who you are. If you were doing meth with my son and he was 15, I would kick your fucking face off, your head off your neck. But I guess if you're gonna do speed with anybody, Filthy Animal and Lemmy, that's kind of so that sucks. But we toured with Motorhead, and he did show me a little bit on the bass, which I changed my style altogether. And watching him play every day for like 50-something shows, and
wow, it was that many shows you guys did with them back.
We on the first tour, no, but we played with them a lot of times at different festivals throughout the years, throughout time, different places. Like it seemed like, okay, the first tour we did was the Orgasmatron tour.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, but then we just, I kept crossing paths with them over the years, not just obviously on stage, but like I used to go to all their shows. So I saw them more times than I could fucking remember.
Yeah. That was a good lineup they had. That's when they were a 4-piece. They had 2 guitar players. Right?
I got Campbell on the last Cro-Mags.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So Phil Campbell of Motorhead plays on From the Grave.
Was
the
this
story behind that is about Lemmy? He spoke to me from the grave. That's when Phil came and played on the song.
What's the context of this?
I was on mushrooms and he was drunk.
What's going on here?
I was on mushrooms and he was drunk. Okay, next case.
Next.
Yeah.
You could spin through Harley's, you could spin through his archive of photos like this and just do that. Just be like, so context. What's going on here?
Mushrooms, alcohol. Next case.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Okay.
Substances.
Yeah. Let me see what else I got in the
Christ, we went from meth to mushrooms in fucking like one sentence.
Bro, you listen. You want? Here's one you've never seen. You ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Don't get me worried.
You and me in the 90s.
Oh dear God.
I was actually fucking. This is when I was like homeless almost. This is I was just like right before I had started. Is this when I started fucking relapsing? Like this was a bad time for me, man.
This was when we were doing a video in Tompkins Square Park.
Okay, so it was right before. I don't remember. I think it was right before. I think I had started fucking with dust again at that point. It was like a slow demise, man. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what?
You and me, right out. This is when we were shooting that Adolf the Assassin video in Tompkins Square Park.
I remember.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
Yeah, man. You know what? The 90s were rough on me.
No one's ever seen that one.
No.
And no one ever will.
Well, but now everybody has. Fuck, I wouldn't have seen that one. But you know what? It's a testament to the fact that, you know, you can fucking survive. Both of us, you can survive major amounts of fucking drugs and fucking come back and thrive. So, you know, to the people that are out there struggling, you know that you can get better, you know. And when I say better, look, I'm not bullshitting anybody. I still smoke weed and I fucking microdose on mushrooms. I don't claim that I drink, but I don't say I don't drink, because once in a while I may have a celebratory drink with friends, you know. But I'm not fucking shooting drugs. I'm not fucking smoking meth or fucking this, that, the other. I'm not doing all that really crazy shit. I know I can dabble without fucking going bananas. And, you know, we're lucky. Moonshine. You know, well, moonshine once in a while, you know. But you know,
yeah, moonshine. Yo,
okay, that's a
special drug. So I'm over at the Flanagan's for dinner, and they put this shit out in a jar, and I'm like, "What's that?" It's like moonshine. Like
Tennessee, Muddy Roots.
Did you? So wait, let me get this straight. You bought this on tour in Tennessee and brought it home back to New York?
Yes.
What the fuck you blowing up my spot? I just gave this whole I'm not doing fucking drinking this shit. Now you're talking about my moonshine collection. Yo, bro. No. Look, man, once in a while, shot of moonshine. It's funny.
It's been there for years, to be fair. Like, so it's
And
not like he's consuming moonshine on the regular.
You could probably varnish the paint off.
You try to tell me to quit smoking pot and start drinking again, man. So God. She's like a couple shots a day.
Yeah, I'm like, take a shot, take the edge off.
Jesus.
Out of vodka in the morning just to take the edge off. Yeah.
Back to the task at hand. What was it like playing with the guitar genius Rocky George?
It was fucking amazing, and me and Rocky still speak regularly, and still, even as early as was it yesterday or today?
I think so. You were sharing videos.
Yeah, we're always, every time either of us turns on to some new phenomenal musician or anything of that nature that's like totally out of the box, we always send it to each other, and just like dumb shit. He's kind of like my best friend in that way, you know. Like, honestly, he's one of the people I enjoy playing with and hanging out with the most. And if we didn't live so goddamn far away from each other, and if things weren't always so complicated, we'd still be doing a lot of stuff together. But, you know, love him to death. And I'm sure that I will be having him play on records with me in the future. And he may do shows with me again. You never know. But whatever. That's what it's like playing with the guitar genius Rocky George.
A pleasure.
Yeah, and you recorded with our buddy Steve Zing, who plays with Glenn Danzig, and that's when you did a
See, everybody else was on lockdown, and we were like, "Fuck this! We're making a record. We're making 2 records."
Like we're wearing them masks. Like that's gonna help. You're 2 feet away from each other all day long. Like
that was a PR photo. We were trying to.
Was it right?
We were pretending to abide by the fucking rules.
Right.
I mean, you know, at that moment, you couldn't really be like, "Yeah, fuck all of y'all. We're over here fucking getting sick, and we're gonna go out and cough on you." You know?
Yeah, like this mask is helping do shit, right?
Look, man, I don't give a fuck, man. You know, you know what's funny is you couldn't fucking walk into a bank or anywhere with a mask on prior to COVID. After COVID, you had to wear a mask to walk into a bank. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. You got to walk into a bank with a mask on. What the fuck?
That's right. Lodi Pizza represent.
Lodi Pizza.
Yep.
Those crazy guineas from Lodi.
Yep.
Rochelle's like, what's so special about this place? I'm like, it's Lodi Pizza. You don't understand.
It's legend. It's legend.
She's like, what the fuck?
That's not
why
so good.
Why do you take me to these places?
Horrible.
Yeah, right? It's like, fucking Lodi Pizza's like, whatever.
Not impressive.
It's not. Let's see, what else do we got?
No, why it's because of the Misfits.
Yeah,
That's right.
Go in there and look at the Misfit Jerry Only's picture on the wall.
Legendary.
Yeah. Let me see. What else do we got here?
Come on, hit me with the best.
Saw you at Rebellion Festival a few years ago. It was a great show. Last time you played Glasgow, though, was brilliant. You had the crowd in Slay going for it. Hope you had a great time.
I had a fucking great time, man. I
Scotland rules.
Scotland. Actually, no. Rebellion Festival was.
No, but in Glasgow.
Yeah, no. That you know what? I love playing. I really, really enjoy what I do. And for those of you who've seen me live, you know, and you can tell that I give 100% every time I get out there. I really do, and it's one of the times I feel the best. So
it's what you do.
I've been doing this my whole life, man. I just really. When I get off tour, it takes me like a few weeks to catch up, and usually by the time I catch back, slow down, I got to go out again.
That can fuck with your head,
bro. It really does. It actually does. It makes life a little stressful.
I think. I mean, I'm assuming as you've gotten older, you've become acclimated to it. But when I was young and I used to go out and come back, it fucked me up because it was almost like Groundhog Day. I could never get my life going because I was constantly.
It fucked me up. Still, it's post-tour syndrome, post-traumatic tour syndrome. Because it's like you get so. For me, I have such a regiment on tour now. Like I wake up, do push-ups, take a shower, go outside, stretch out, get some sun in my eyes while everybody's getting organized, getting in the van. And then we stop every 2 hours for at least 15 to 20 minutes so that I can get out and stretch and do some push-ups. And I have a whole little routine of exercise that I do. And I do that every couple hours till we get to our destination. Then I have my little break-apart gym that you saw in the boys' room with my pull-up bar and my dip bar and all that. And I set that shit up in the dressing room. And I have a whole regiment. So, like, my whole day is like I'm pushing towards the cause, And then as the day is progressing, I do my vocal warm-ups. All this shit, So by the time we get ready to play, I'm like, I'm in fucking go mode. And then, then I got to wind down. That's fucking hard,
Makes
Once
sense.
you get yourself to that fucking place, and then you're like in your hotel room at night, like listening to silence, and your ears are ringing, and it's like, quite honestly too, man. For those of you who don't know, like if you've got PTSD and you've been violently assaulted, and you've had like traumatic, violent situations happen in your life, and especially for those of you who don't know about Webster Hall, I got jumped by like 5 to 7 dudes that were supposedly a Cro-Mags type event. I'll just call it a Cro-Mags type event. So when you've had situations where people that have been involved with, like you just get a little jumpy, and the only way I can liken it to is like talking to a friend of mine who was a Marine, who's like, when you're walking around and you're peace mission, but the people that want to kill you also look like the people that you're supposedly like trying to help out, and this and that, you just don't know what the fuck is going on. Like we both kind of understood that. Like, I mean, think about fucking Dimebag Darrell, man. You think about fucking John Lennon, ironically, the same day.
That's pure insanity. These guys Dimebag Darrell was killed on stage,
and John Lennon was killed on the same day. Both of them on the same fucking day by crazy fans. And because I've had so much trauma in my life, and I'll tell you that Webster Hall shit brought a lot of it back.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Like, it took me a little while to come down. And I still haven't completely recovered from all that shit in certain ways, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know,
What was this other one I just saw? RSS. Did you ever skate and do graffiti? I don't remember you skateboarding, but did you do graffiti at all?
No, I was never really a good graffiti artist, but I did write on shit, you know. I write Cro-Mags, and now I just sign my name because I figure like I just sign it the way I sign my name, because I'm like, someday people are gonna possibly. I was like, imagine if you went into a room and you saw like, you know, I don't know, let's just say, not that I'm comparing myself, but you know, Geezer Butler's signature or something on a wall, you'd be like, oh shit, you know. That's, to me, if you're already like a cool person, you don't need to be good graffiti artist. Putting your name up, that's good enough.
Yeah,
I already worked. I worked for that signature, so now I can just go Harley Flanagan.
This one's coming from me. It's a little involved, so let me just give it to you like this. A lot of people talk about this being a real important, quintessential, groundbreaking crossover record, and I know that you've mentioned it. I know that you've mentioned it before, but the crossover really goes back to really Age of Quarrel. Could you give us some perspective? Can you give us some perspective? I know you. Could you give us some perspective on how really the crossover was happening, kind of right out of the gate?
Because I feel like, you know, and I'm not trying to, like, how can I say this without sounding like I'm sucking my own dick here, right?
But you said that twice in one show, Laura.
I know. I've heard it more than that. Twice in this show.
I was going to say pat myself on the back, but that's not really vulgar enough, you know, to get my point across.
Yes.
Okay, so go back to me. Look, I'm patting myself on the back now. Not that I'm trying to do this. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but that was one of the, in my opinion, tighter, better musical performances on a hardcore record at that time. Like, as you know, there was the only other band that was really kind of starting to push it into that realm, in my opinion, was, you know, Suicidal on the West Coast, as far as music that was, you know, and really it wasn't even just the tightness of the music that we played. It was the fact that this was the game changer. We Gotta Know got played on Headbangers Ball. And that's what really made, and because it wasn't like Raby's style drumming, you know what I'm saying? And no diss to Ray, but he wasn't a great drummer. And in the early days of hardcore, there was typically always at least one musician in the band who kind of sucked. And that would always kind of hold the band back from sounding good. With us, every musician in the band was pretty fucking good. And with vocals, it didn't really require that you were like a vocalist. Everybody didn't have to be a singer. You just had to have energy and be explosive. And John had that in spades, to the point where you could hear the explosiveness and the energy on the record, because it just was just like it was like, what the fuck, you know? But the tightness of the music set it above the other hardcore bands of that moment in New York, and you know, and the Headbangers Ball thing. Yeah. We got thrown out there. That was the first time that an audience outside of a hardcore show ever saw crowd surfing. I mean, no one ever saw a mosh pit slam dancing until that video, who hadn't been to a hardcore show, because it didn't exist at other genres of shows.
First ever clip on MTV to feature slam dancing and crowd surfing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that is really what makes that record the crossover album, because it was on Headbang. It made it to a broader audience, a metal audience, and the music was tight enough to back it up.
Yeah.
That's why Age of Quarrel is really the crossover album. Best Wishes Next thing is, I didn't really like where the CBGB's next era of hardcore bands were going. I kind of thought the late 80s kind of sucked. I didn't like those bands. I thought it was starting to turn into just repeated, boring, same over and over and over bullshit. So I actually set out with the intention of writing a metal album, but from a hardcore perspective on this one.
Here's a great question. This is from Astoria Lou, friend and supporter. I saw the Cro-Mags twice in '86 at the Ritz, August and November. I remember reading in one of the metal mags around '87 that Dave Mustaine might produce the second Cro-Mags record. Is that right?
I didn't know that, but I wish it had. That would have been cool.
I guess not. Hey, Lou, I guess not.
But you know, again, this album was really kind of, I was trying to write something that was more metal, but written from a hardcore perspective. It was like metal without the spandex, metal without the, you know, the blow up dragons and all the shit, you know?
Yeah.
Instead, we got metal with Krishna consciousness.
Another thing I have in my notes is Chris in both these records, Age of Quarrel and Cro-Mags, Best Wishes. Chris Williamson is listed as the producer. Like, what did Chris Williamson? What did that mean? Like, Chris William, what was the of Chris Williamson producing the Cro-Mags first two records? What does that mean?
It means he was our manager, and all money got funneled through him. and he selected the engineer. He selected the recording engineer in the studio, where he got the best rates and the best engineer that he could get.
He wasn't involved in the songs or the sound or any of that. Okay.
Nah, that wasn't really his thing. Now, but to be fair,
let's be fair.
He was a classically trained pianist. He went to Juilliard. He was an incredibly talented musician, but he was one of those people that you could tell he always wanted to be a rocker. Like, he would rather be up there with his guitar being fucking rah, but you know. Yeah. And it was, you know, you used to go to those shows. I mean, he was hysterical. We'd be on stage playing, and he'd be on the stage next to us, like fucking flipping out. He'd always come out and introduce us on stage, like
he was a character,
some kind of, like the dude at a circus, you know, a fucking. It was comedy.
You know what he was like? Who was Elvis's manager? Colonel Tom Parker. He was like a character like that. You know, somebody asked before, where did the name Best Wishes? Where did the title Best Wishes come from?
Well, it's kind of it was kind of like a smart ass way of saying later. You do the math. He wasn't playing with me anymore.
Okay. What else? What else we got?
I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before.
Where the title came from?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we go deep on this show, right? Right. What else?
You like reading, you scanning. Can't you think of something good? Come on, man. You got.
Hey, post your questions, you bums. Let's go. We're heading down the home stretch here.
Yeah, we out here, man.
Me and the Flanagans are getting hungry, and my wife's coming home with dinner. So let's go.
There you go.
Who did the album cover to Best Wishes? Wasn't that just that's like standard Krishna operating procedure?
We purchased the rights to use it from, I believe, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, who owned the rights. I forget who the name of the artist is who actually did the painting, but that's how we got that. And actually, we had to pay for the rights to the first one. And the first cover is not actually the explosion in Japan. It's actually the test explosion, the first one that they did. So that's why the photo is so good, because they had cameras set up on the ground to like take those pictures.
You know, this is this guy, man. All right, hold on with this one, man.
Were you blocking somebody? You're like,
no, I'm not. No, but this is someone asking a question.
Yeah.
They're asking 10 questions. So only answer one of these. What do you remember about the recording of the Age of Quarrel demo? Was it done all live? Guild Starfire, PV amp, Boss heavy metal pedal. How long did it take? How long did it take? Were you amped on it? Like it better than the following record.
When you say amp,
stay tuned next week. The show's going to be the Age of Quarrel demo, and we're going to do 2 hours on it. Like Jesus Moses, man. Any memories of this?
I'll give you a couple real quick. I'm already forgot all the. Yes, I did use the hollow body bass, the Guild, and what kind of amp did you ask?
PV.
PV. I did use a PV on it, but I think I actually had 2 different amps set up, 2 different types of amps. We did most of the tracking with Jerry Williams, and then we did some of the recording and tracking with his brother Tim Williams, because Jerry kind of had a little nervous breakdown. I think it might have been our fault, partially. But it was. It only took us a couple of days, like 2 or 3 days, because we were paying for it out of pocket, and we didn't really have a lot of money. And I always thought that the cassette captured the sound of the band better than the album, myself personally. But the album did not have, but the cassette did not have Doug on it, and the album did. So, both things have their pros and cons.
Makes sense. The movie The Beat was also one of the first times people were exposed to the Cro-Mags, but they weren't the Cro-Mags in The Beat. They were called
the Iron Skulls.
Iron Skulls.
Iron Skulls. But you know what? That was really a traumatic and fucked up thing, though, because I don't know if you remember, but like there was an
someone got hurt at the show. Someone got hurt, right?
They got more than hurt. They got like paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh God!
During shooting of that, and they tried to sue the band, they tried to sue the venue, they tried to sue the production company, and they did get a bunch of, thank God, and well deserved. They got a lot of money. I don't remember from who, but we weren't really. It wasn't our doing. We weren't responsible for the security or for the production or for the film. We were essentially just actors, also.
Yeah.
So but it was fucked up, because. Again, slam dancing was such a new thing, so these people didn't really know what the fuck was going on, right? And they basically were just like, okay, when we say go, everybody just flip out, like they're in the middle of a song. So there wasn't like that natural momentum that kind of happens to an audience when different parts are happening. When a song is playing for a while and like, okay, you see this person's moving this way. It's kind of like an ocean. Everybody's kind of, there's a rhythm to what's happening, right? Well, there was no rhythm to this shit because they were just like, ready and action.
Ready and hurt yourselves.
Yeah, basically, and they did this shit a bunch of times. And one of the times, someone just came running across the stage, jumped off, and everybody knows. Let's not pretend. People jump off the stage and they look for comfy, cushy spots to land. In other words, other people. And somebody got landed on in a really bad way, and that was that. And they broke their fucking neck. And so people be fucking careful. It's like I see a lot of stupid shit out there, and I don't like to sound like that old man. And people start, well, then get out of the pit, and you shouldn't be near it, and blah blah blah. You know the rules. And shut the fuck up, man. When you see someone small, or you see some chick get her face fucking caved in by some dude who just wasn't looking, jumped. It's like, for me, it's a little fucking awkward. Yes, it is what it is. Everybody, you want to have fun. You want to be out there fucking going crazy. But sometimes, you get assholes out there who they think it's all about. There used to be a rhythm to it. You weren't actually trying to connect your fist to everybody's mouth. Like back then, you would only connect your fist to the individuals' mouths that you didn't like. It was like targeted annihilation. Like that was where we.
It wasn't just random.
We weren't doing this fucking back swinging karate shit. Like if you knew somebody you didn't like was behind you, you might do one of these. That was kind of this is how I'm dealing with this guy without getting thrown out of the show type of move. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like this is how I dance. I'm going to punch everybody behind me that without looking. You know, like back then, it was like that shit was targeted, and everybody else was rhythm. It was flow. Like it was more like capoeira. Like you were in a dog pile, but nobody's really getting hurt. You were having fun. It was like touch football without the ball, except that the people that you didn't like, they'd catch the fucking back fist or the spinning fucking back kick because people had.
Thank you for the new band name, Targeted Annihilation. There's a running list. We have a running list of band names. Like, you know, that's.
I got some good ones, but I give them away because I'm using that shit for side projects.
We're Targeted Annihilation.
Yeah, it's not bad. Just give me credit.
I inspired by Harley and Laura Flanagan. I got one for you, Laura. Wait, where did I say? They're coming in fast and furious.
Fast and furious. About time, motherfuckers.
God. What is Laura's musical background? Was she into underground music before meeting Harley?
I was into hardcore when I was a very youngster. But I lived on the Upper East Side. And I would travel diabolically from my privileged life to the Lower East Side to go to hardcore shows. And that was before I met Harley. But I did meet Harley in that era when I was about 14 years old. And that story's in the movie, so you'll have to watch it. But yeah, then after that, I floated away back to my little world until meeting again so many years later.
Makes sense.
When I was
pulled you back in, like in The Godfather,
New York was all over the place. You know what I mean? Kids from everywhere went to all different types of venues and shows. And growing up in a city like New York City, you don't get sheltered from much. So you could have people from, the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, Brooklyn, Queens, wherever, that were all
like Matt Damon coming to hardcore shows and like other actors. Like it's just New York is still in every way, shape, and form. It really is a melting pot.
Yeah.
And culturally, you can rub elbows with all walks of life in a relatively small space within a big city.
Well, one of the amazing things that Rex and I spoke about early on is that, the crazy proximity of these two totally different worlds back then of the Upper East Side and Lower East Side was a 30-minute train ride on the 6. Yeah. Like, that's it. From 68th Street to Astor Place.
Yeah.
It was less than 30 minutes.
And let's just own it. Everybody went to the same clubs at night in some way or another. And Avenue A and the Lower East Side was like our Bourbon Street as far as that's where shit was happening. So everybody went down there at night to get loose and get drunk. So like if you were at a bar, you were hanging out with whoever the fuck. You were hanging out with the Beastie Boys, who, although they were friends of mine, came from wealthy families. Right. And you were also hanging out with people like me who came from,
the squad.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were in the squad.
Yeah,
with Ray B's and
the one-bedroom apartment that I grew up in with like multiple people living. Most people don't know what it's like to live in a one-bedroom with your bathtub in the kitchen and just like nothing, food stamps and all that shit. Like,
Yeah, one of the great things about New York back then, and I think that could be said to a certain extent now. I mean, for young people. I got to ask you about this one. This is a good one. I got to ask you. Your former brother-in-law, uncle to your kids, Bob Riley.
There's an uncle. That's about as far as that goes.
Uncle. Remember beating that pit bull in the head with a log because it was attacking this old man and his shepherd? You saved them, bro.
Yeah, that was a little complicated. What happened? I was at this kid's house, this dude, I forgot his name, and I heard this horrible, horrible screaming outside. And I ran outside, and this dude, this group of young kids had sicked a pit bull on this old man's shepherd.
Oh, God.
And they were just kind of like hanging out, watching it work this dog over. Like, I guess they were just getting him, you know, exposed to violence against other big animals. I guess they were like prepping him for, you know, his future gig. So I fucking picked up a log and started fucking beating the shit out of the dog, which, as anybody who knows, I've had a lot of those dogs. He didn't give a fuck. I could have fucking beat that dog and beat that dog and beat that dog, and it wouldn't have mattered. He was in fucking, he was in fight mode. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the owner and I squared off on him and I said, dude, you get that dog off or I'm going to cave your fucking head in. I'm going to fucking kill you right fucking here. And then I wound up and I was about to take him and they all started pulling the dog off and grabbed the dog. And the old man.
Where did this happen?
I was upstate, man. It's fucking.
Let me guess. Troy, New York.
Where else? The capital, Albany. You know?
We've met the enemy, and the enemy is us. Troy,
but anyway, you know, it was just like grim because it was like this old man and this old ass shepherd. It was like a kind of overweight old dog. He's just walking the dog at night, and all of a sudden, these fucking kids let the dog fly, and it just came charging across the grass, like charging, and fucking hit it like a train and started working it.
Oh, God.
You know.
All right.
Yeah. No, they're lucky I didn't have a motherfucking knife or some shit because I would have fucking stabbed the shit out of that dog. And not that I would like to do that, but like you can't fucking let your dog kill this old man's fucking dog like that. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Is this gentleman? Was he? I know you go back with him. Was he a Stimulators fan? Like, what was the history with Anthony Bourdain?
He was definitely. How would you put it? He was intrigued. I don't know if he was a fan of us musically, but he was in disbelief at what the fuck I was doing at clubs because he was just like, why is this kid even permitted into these venues? Why is he here? What is he doing here? Shouldn't he be someplace else getting ready for school tomorrow or something? Like to him, it was just one of those things. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. I don't know if he was like really a fan, but he was definitely.
It was funny though because he really didn't know anything about the Cro-Mags. He was just like, Stimulators. That's how I know you.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and actually, I was teaching his daughter jiu-jitsu for a while before he actually revealed to me that he knew who I even was. And I'm standing there one day, I'm letting the kids out. They're all like, bye, Professor Harley. Blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, he's like, I don't know you from the Cro-Mags. I know you from the Stimulators. And I was like, and then he started rattling off like venues and people and things that we had in common. And I was like, oh shit. And that was it, man. Me and him, just the fucking floodgates came down, man. And like, we had so many commonalities. It was crazy, man. I really, really missed that guy, man. It's like one of those.
Yeah, very sad.
Tremendous loss. You know.
Very, very, very sad. And just one note about where you guys are here. This is in front of Ray's Egg Cream, which is really Ray's the last man standing from when we were kids down there, man. Right? He's the last man standing from when we were fucking.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this photo, they actually have a colored version of it on the wall behind the register. If you're getting an egg cream over there or some fried Oreos, look on the wall behind and you'll see a color version of this.
Last man standing. Everything else is gone. Ray is the last man standing.
Amazing.
Man.
It is. It's wild. I mean,
he's a sweetheart.
Oh, you know what I remember about Ray's? When we were teenagers and back then, like in, I don't know, 81, 82, is Ray used to have like magazines and stuff in there. He never, ever had pornography. He didn't sell Playboy, Penthouse. He that's where he drew the line. He never sold that stuff. I always remembered that as he had comic books.
I didn't.
not sure why that came on my radar screen, but it did.
It's like I was looking for that Playboy, and they didn't have.
I guess not. That's what you were looking for.
Hey, believe me, in 1981, at 2:00 in the morning, across the street from the A7, I wasn't in there looking for the new issue of Playboy.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Fair. Any comics he was selling there in 1980, whatever, were probably from 1970, whatever, because he didn't, he didn't update his selection.
Stock.
Oh, by the way, everybody, I just want to say that the DVD is out. It is Wired for Chaos. There it is, and it can be purchased.
You still have DVD players.
Yes.
There's the scan for it. Don't be shy. Scan it. A great stocking stuffer. It can be purchased also. Go check it out. It's streaming and available at www.wiredforchaos.com.
You can watch it tonight.
You can watch it tonight. Yeah. And also Laura's book, Hardcore Vegetarian, is available on Amazon. So go track that down as well. I happen to be fortunate. I have both. And listen, if you're wondering, it is true. Grandma Eugenia.
She is a genius, but her cooking makes her definitely.
The eggplant recipe is in this.
Sublime.
Truly sublime. Yeah. Heading down the home stretch. What else? Oh yes, Hardcore Vegetarian. Welcome to the Veg Gym. Only 5 left in stock. More on the way. Who's this? Your publisher?
I don't know. I'm amazed. Well. You better get him quick.
Damn,
get him right now. Go.
You know what? I bet you sold 500 copies during this show.
It's a good book. It's a good book. You'll love it. It's funny. You'll laugh. You'll cry. You'll eat well. Feeding him. He's in there.
I have to say that I was partially the inspiration by this book because
absolutely
we had to go down the road of vegetarian cooking because she's the cook of this house.
Yes, I had to feed him something other than size.
She's all about feeding people, and she's like, I have to learn more recipes and explore more. And because she's such a creative person and she loves to cook, she really goes in. I'm so lucky Pete Hines, my drummer, who is a chef, he went to culinary school. He stayed at my house for a week, and he's like, dude, you eat so well. He's like, everyone should eat like this. He straight up told me, I
was so nervous though to have like a chef in my house that I'm this kind of freak, but I was like, I planned every menu. I'm like 5 days of Pete Hines.
Yep.
Well, he will vouch that she can really cook her ass off. So if you wanna eat like me and see what her cooking's all about, whether you're a vegetarian or not, you will definitely appreciate the love that went into these recipes.
100%. Hey, that said, I told you it goes fast. It's 3 hours.
Unbelievable.
Jesus fucking Christ. How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know.
That's why when I try to book people on the show, they go, I don't know. I don't even know if I have 45 minutes. I'm like, listen, believe me when I tell you.
I knew this shit was going to go.
Baby Glenn Danzig has slept behind me the entire time. He was very good for this show. He lulled him to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Harley, let me ask you, what's in the future? What's going on? Cro-Mags, what's the future looking like? And anything coming up this summer, or what's it looking like down the road?
There is so much shit coming up that I'm not even aware of all of it yet. I know they just announced several festivals, including Hellfest and stuff. So I know we have like 2 runs coming up in Europe. I don't know the specifications as far as countries and dates. We've had a few offers in the States. There's rumors of a repeat of a tour that we did recently. I don't want to say too much, but
you have Decibel Fest in May,
and we have the Decibel Fest coming up in May. That's all been confirmed and announced. And
Philly.
I also, and you know what? I'm in this. Bro, there's so much going on. I'm just like, huh? What? I'm in the studio. I got a record that's almost done. Arthur Rizek is producing it. So there's going to be at least an album and a couple singles coming out early into the next year. I'm busy as fuck, and again, this film just did a U.S. theater run, like major theaters.
It's going to be in the UK, right? So our UK distributor will have a DVD as well as streaming will start in the UK. I think February.
Fantastic.
So what I was going to say, we did like a whole U.S. theater run, and it's honestly, I don't know too many. Hey, man. It was a real shock for me to see a story of my life playing in a theater with like fucking major films, like big name movies. I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy.
Awesome.
All over the country and like all over the UK, film festivals in South America, Barcelona, and so shit's kind of overwhelming, man. The next year is going to be amazing.
Good. I see you're doing these shows. These shows you're doing Age of Quarrel in its entirety?
No, that was never what we said, but we will be doing probably most of the album. If we did the entirety, it could happen. You know, we know it's entirety. But you know what?
Well, that's what it's saying on the flyer, bro.
This thing we're doing, I think they said something about doing
Celebrating.
Celebrating.
We're celebrating.
That's right.
So that could mean
it's the 40th anniversary.
You know what? It's the 40-year anniversary. And I'm just putting this out there to everybody. You know what? In a perfect world, in a perfect situation, my table has always been open for any kind of a conversation. I would love to celebrate this the right way. But as far as I'm concerned, you know what? Just out there playing those songs, that's the right way to celebrate it. You know, I'm so proud that people still cover these songs, that they still appreciate them, enjoy them, dance to them, sing along to them. You know, this music has outlived any expectation that I ever had, and I'm so grateful.
Right on. Hey, can I answer this one? Can I answer this one on behalf of the Flanagans? This next one?
What is it? It depends.
Harley, do you still have Sid Vicious's room key from the Chelsea Hotel?
Yes,
yes, he does. I just saw it the other day.
It's right next to Joe Strummer's shirt that he wore the first night the Clash played in America. I got it the second night they played in America. And that's on the wall.
And I've insured it. Because that's how I
have a few things.
Yeah.
I also collect MMA stuff as well as, punk rock memorabilia.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Hey, what do you say we go eat something?
Let's do it.
I'd like to thank you for having us on. And
thank you, Drew.
Anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out, Harley?
Well, I want to shout out my wife. Thank you, my love, for
from the other room.
she's in the other room. I'll see her in a moment. And I just want to say to everybody out there, check out the movie, stream it, the DVD. For those of you who don't like me, maybe you'll understand why now. And maybe you'll forgive me a little bit. I'm not asking for you to, but you know what? There's a lot more to what you see. And to those who did like me, maybe you won't like me as much. I don't know. But you should definitely.
Maybe if you just don't like me, it's in your head. But maybe you can watch this film and really understand.
Just like it
no,
anyway.
My point is, I know I fucked up in a lot of ways in my life, but if you understand how people got to where they did, it makes it a lot easier to go, okay, this is not necessarily who this person would have been if situations would have been a little differently. And that's why you really have to you have to remember that when you go through life.
Thank you.
Laura, anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out?
I just when we were talking about this film, Rex, Biz, David Meislin, all the incredible people who made the film. I'm honored to have been a part of it. And Lightyear Entertainment, our distributor in the United States, and Screenbound in the UK, and hopefully it'll go around the world, and we'll see you doing a Q&A someplace in Australia.
There you go. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew,
for being guests on the show today. We'll talk to you soon.
Great.
Take care. Boom. Well, there you go. Another one in the books. Great show. Great chat room. Great questions. Great interaction. 408 shows into it. So thank you all so much. It was really great. Thank you, Darren. Just Gary, everybody out there. It was a great show. Great guests. What's the next show we're doing? 1 week from today? Is it 1 week from today? 1 week from today, Candace from Walls of Jericho will be on the show. So how about that? Yeah, it was a great show. Good stuff. That's what we do. Listen, if we don't have it together by now, it'll never be together. But it was great. Thank you, Joe Frank. Thanks, Brian. We kept it classy. And that's why we get the guests we do on this show. We keep it classy. We try to. Smart chat room, good questions. Thanks for all the super chats, everybody. Courtney and just everybody, who threw down RS, and thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. It's great show. No drama, no bullshit. Yeah, no drama. I can't do drama on this show. Fuck that. With that said, so all right. Hey, look. Happy holidays if I don't speak to you. All the best to you and yours. Love you guys. Really, really grateful that we're still doing the show a couple years later, and you guys are a part of it. I mean that. So until next time, do good things, and good things will come.